Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening from wherever you are in the world. This is the Halligans and Half Wheels podcast brought to you by Box 1971, where we're changing the culture of the fire service one fireman at a time. We are back after a 2-month break, and boy, oh boy, has it been busy. We are in the Fueled by Milwaukee Tools studio. Milwaukee Tools, nothing but heavy duty. We have some news to start December of 2023 with, and that is we now have an official cigar for the Halligans and Half Wheels podcast, and that is Karen Burger Cigars out of Esteli, Nicaragua. So Karen is originally from Esteli, grew up as a roller, and now in her husband's passing in 2014, Don Kiki Burger, she now runs the empire, the farm, the factory, it all, turning out some of the best tobacco for premium cigars in the world. And we are pleased to have Karen as the official cigar of the Halligans and Half Wheels podcast. Today I am smoking the Cameroon from Karen Burger, rated 93 in Cigar Journal. And if you don't know much about the Cigar Journal is the industry respected journal. It doesn't mean that you pay to be advertised in it. What it talks about in the journal is what people really think. And this is a blind test. So they unban the cigars, send them out, and you get a rating back. 93 is pretty doggone high. A Cameroon isn't for everybody, but this cigar, when I smoke it, I get hints of Sriracha. I freaking love this cigar. I cannot express to you how much I love this cigar. It's actually my first cigar of the day. So we are joined here today by someone we have been trying to nail down for about 8 months to get in here.
Oh, stop it.
And you hear him laughing. He's a very loud Italian. Wait until you hear this last name. We are joined today by Aaron Mastro Donato. Aaron, good afternoon, sir.
Thank you, man. Welcome. I'm humbled to be here. I'm humbled to be here.
Yeah, you know what, Grandpa?
Glad you made time for me.
Yeah, listen to you making time between work and physical therapy and running your own
Right.
running your own cigar business and
Yeah.
your own lounge at the house. I mean, you're kind of hard to keep up with.
Yeah, it's a busy life.
You're the
I
only
always make time for you.
you're the only guy I know that has a pair of Yeezys and a bike
Oh boy.
that has airbags. You're the only guy.
If nobody knows what airbags are, that's air ride.
Is that what they're
That's
called?
where the bike lowers down to like a low rider.
Is that so
But
you
I
can get
love
on
it.
with your old hips? Is that how?
That's exactly. So I can swing my leg around and not hurt myself.
No, your bike's beautiful.
Too funny. Thank you, man.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Well, man, thanks for joining us here. What are you smoking on over there?
This is a Mastro Cigars peach rum. Peach rum.
Okay.
It's Dominican, Connecticut. Hand rolled, not touched by a machine. It's one of my favorites. I'll say this between this and the Hennessy Espresso.
Okay.
Great stick. Mild, relaxing. It's not
Right.
a beat your chest like you're smoking over there.
No,
Like,
this
but-
is mild.
No, I'm messing with you.
This is
I
mild.
know you're more of a hardcore guy than I am. I'm a lightweight.
Well, I will tell you tonight, I intend on having a Castle and Key bourbon, the Don Kiki Gold, which is a Brazilian Arapaca wrapper, Esteli binder and filler.
You make it sound so good.
Karen, actually, I love it when she says it's bourbon best friend.
I love it. Not pairing, best friends.
Best friend.
I love it.
Yeah, best friend.
Yeah, pairing's boring.
If you've never had the chance to talk to Karen, it's absolutely amazing. She prefers to speak in Spanish, but I don't habla español too
Right,
good.
Me neither.
So-
Same.
So you've got your own cigar line. We're going to get into that, but let's take us through. Talk about your life, man, because you've led an interesting freaking life, man.
Wow.
So, where did you do your growing up?
So I was born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio. Whew, man, I'm getting chills just thinking about my past. My mom and I were on welfare. My dad was a drug dealer and a gun runner in Cleveland. He ended up doing federal time in prison, almost 10 years, so he wasn't really around. My mom and I struggled, but I would have never realized it because she always just made things seem like we were good. We would have neighbors from the area to watch me at night so she could bartend. That was her job. She bartended and tried to keep us afloat. Met my dad, well, I will say my dad, Years later, not my biological father, my father that adopted me. Met him a few years later, and that's when life changed. Um, got us out of the projects, got us off of welfare. My mom started a really good career at Ohio Bell at the time. I'm sure you remember
Ohio
Ohio
Bell.
Bell, now AT&T, but Ohio Bell back in the day. My mom and dad both worked there, and that's when life changed. I had a father figure in my life, an amazing man who showed me how to be a man. Um, yeah, that was basically the start of things to come.
So, what neighborhood did you grow up in?
So we were in. God, I actually have a picture in my phone, but I don't want to. It'll take me 20 minutes to find it. It was the Berea border of Cleveland and Berea, Ohio. Those projects are still there today.
Oh my
They're a
goodness.
little bit cleaner. I actually took my wife through there last time we went home a few months ago, just to show her the neighborhood where where everything started. So yeah, right on the outskirts of, it's right on the border of Cleveland and Berea area. But yeah, that was the start.
And for
Humble beginnings.
those that don't know about how rough Cleveland can be,
Yeah.
the inner city of Cleveland is very rough.
Right now, it has been, not just right now. Probably in the last 7 years, it is one of the top 10 most dangerous cities to live
Really.
in. Not top 10. You
Wow.
Google it, it'll give you the top 10 most impoverished, dangerous cities, gangs, drugs, etc., crime. Yeah, yeah, it's Cleveland. And listen, I love Cleveland. That's my hometown. I love the Browns even when they suck, and that's most of the time. Of course, I'm a Buckeye all day long, Ohio
Right.
State Buckeyes. But yeah, man, I love my city, man. I love how I grew up, where I grew up. It really molded me to who I am today. Really
Sure.
did, really did.
Sure. So is your mom still there?
Yeah, mom and dad, both still in Cleveland. They live in the same house that I grew up in, still to this day.
Wow.
Of course, they've done renovations and stuff to keep it. They're both retired, doing their thing. They look great for their age. Not that they're old, but they're in their late 60s.
Right.
They look amazing. They travel. They do a lot of volunteer work, community stuff. My mom, her whole life has always wanted to give back after work, after retirement, and so she volunteers at women's shelters, stuff for kids. These what do you call those things? My cousin does some work with some of the youth in the Cleveland area, and my mom will help and volunteer with her and assist her. So
Okay.
they're just spending their life giving back and traveling and spending time with us.
Right. So, I was born and raised just north of Columbus, and our church back in the day, we would send. This is crazy because I haven't talked about this in years. And
Mm,
somewhere at mom's, there's a photo of me and my grandfather in front of this old GMC bus, like you'd see in the movie Speed.
get out of here.
That bus was renovated,
Mm,
and it was called Sunshine Express. But Phil Batten, who was a Nazarene youth pastor, children's minister, was in Cleveland,
mm,
and he had a bus called Heaven Train,
okay.
and they would go into the communities, and they would, talk to people about the good word, right?
Mhm.
And so they did the same thing in our hometown, and my dad and my grandfather played an instrumental role in doing that. And it was painted Cocosing orange, which is a specific color for a construction company out of Fredericktown, Ohio, which is also the home of the FFA jacket. I don't
Mm,
know, many people don't know that,
mm.
and home of Luke Perry,
Oh boy.
90210.
Oh, Luke Perry.
But I so they went, and I remember them going to Cleveland. And my dad, God rest his soul, was a big dude,
Yeah,
and
an amazing guy.
he told me that some of the scariest, sketchiest places he had ever been was Cleveland.
Yeah, I believe that
And
wholeheartedly.
so when he said that, that kind of made me, "Well, I don't know if I really need to go to Cleveland."
Yeah, Cleveland's rough, man. Funny story. I was in Catholic school from kindergarten until the ninth grade. St. Thomas More, right outside of Cleveland, Brooklyn, Ohio. And then I went to Holy Name High School in Parma for a year. Obviously, tuition based school. Um, well, let me retract a little bit. So, third, fourth grade, I've struggled in school basically my whole life. My parents were concerned, so they took me to see a therapist, etc. So, I got diagnosed with learning disability, attention deficit disorder. Struggled with a lot of stuff. It was so hard for me to stay focused and stay diligent. So school was probably the worst part of my growing up. I mean, when I say I struggled, my goal in life during that time was just to make my parents proud of me, and I felt like I could never do that
Sure.
until I joined the military. So yeah, I struggled with that all through school, man. Ninth grade, my parents were pretty much fed up with paying tuition and getting D results on my report card. So I got bused to the east side of Cleveland, wonderful east side of Cleveland.
Rough.
John Adams High School. I am a John Adams rebel. Graduated from there. I can officially say, and this will not offend anybody, but I know what it feels like somewhat to be a minority because I was one at my school.
Okay.
There was probably 10 white kids from the west side and an all black school on the east side.
Okay.
So they didn't integrate well. They called it busing because they were trying to integrate the schools. So depending on what district you were in, they would take, we'll just say a group of white kids from the west side, send them to a black school, and they'd send some of the black kids to the east side, to the west side, excuse me, to integrate the schools. They were trying to do some type of integration. Well, they didn't do it well because there was no balance.
They're the government.
Yeah, yeah, there was no balance. But I love the school. I love the way I grew up. How I grew up and evolved in that school from not knowing anybody, being nobody says Italian anymore or nationality. It's white. You're white.
Right. Right.
So to be a white kid from the west side in an all black school, and then my senior year, I'm one of the most popular kids in the school. Like parents were standing. My mom's got the recording of when I won across the stage, and they were like, "Aaron, Master of the Nato," and you see all these parents of people that don't even know me clapping like, "Yeah, Aaron!" Like, I guess their kids talked about me at home. Like this cool Italian kid from the west side, he's got a little style to him. He's kind of cool.
You're a little big to be Italian though.
What do you mean?
I mean, you thick.
Thick.
I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
I haven't always been this big. I didn't start working out until I was 34, man. I was a little skinny twerp for years.
all right.
About 168 pounds when I was 28. But just got into working out. Had a couple old school guys training me at a gym in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and it just
Started getting
became a
swole.
thing. Yeah, you start feeling good. Your walk's a little different. You got your chest poked out a little bit. But
Right. So
yeah, man.
so you graduate.
Yeah, graduate from high school. I'll have to show you the picture later on
All right.
of my dad and I holding the diploma. The smile on my dad's face was like he just hit a $25,000 scratch off. Like he's elated, like, oh, thank God this mother flipper finally graduated from high school.
He finally
He
did
was
something.
ecstatic. He's got this huge smile on his face, and that was the day that I was like, wow, my dad's proud of me. Not that he was never proud of me, but just to see that smile on his face, it meant a lot to me. Man, I didn't even get to enjoy my high school summer. Within 2 months, I had took the ASVAB test for the military, U.S. Navy, and I was shipping out to Chicago Great Lakes, NTC, for boot camp.
Okay.
So yeah, that was exciting. That was a venture. I wasn't ready to go when they gave me the date. I'm like, come on, I just graduated from high school. Like I just want to enjoy my senior summer. But no bueno on that. They shipped me, and but it was awesome. Good experience for me. I didn't see myself going to college at the time. Like I said, I struggled so bad to just get by in school. I'm like, college would just be a joke. Like, there's no reason for that. Let's go to the military. Let's pick up a trade. Let's learn something. Let's serve our country. Let's travel. And let's just kind of find yourself as a man, kind of find your lane. So, phenomenal experience. I ended up doing 10 years, 95 to right to the beginning of 2005.
It's a rough time to be in.
Yeah, it was. That was if you remember, the Saddam Hussein days.
Yeah.
It would,
Yeah.
it would be nothing for us to be headed into a port like, hey, we're headed to Spain for liberty for 5 days. So, like, we're excited to be on land and have a drink and have a good meal, and then you'd hear the captain come over the loudspeaker. Attention, everybody. We have recently had some threats from Saddam Hussein. We will be turning the ship around at approximately 3:30, in the a.m. and we would be heading to out the the coast of Iraq. Like, you got to be kidding me! Can this dude just shut up so we can get some? Every time he does a threat, man, we're I don't care where we're at in the world, we are turning around and going right and sitting outside of Iraq, waiting for him to do something dumb so we can hit a button. You know.
Right.
But
What was your job?
so I was in the supply department. I started off cooking, man.
Okay.
I had a low score on the ASVAB, but I passed it. So it was cool. I enjoyed the supply department. I got to learn a lot of different things. I actually did Mine Watch, which was a pretty scary thing. Department was in charge of Mine Watch, was what they call it.
Okay.
Water mines
Oh, okay.
that will blow the ship up.
Okay.
So picture this: you're standing in the front of a ship with approximately 1,300 enlisted military, Marine, and Navy. You'll appreciate this. You're standing out there with a fire helmet on, a fire hose, and a reflector vest at the forecastle of the ship. So, and binoculars, excuse me. Don't forget the binoculars. So we would stand these 4-hour watches looking for mines in the water, because when you get to Iraq, Saddam Hussein had them planted. His people had them planted all through the water to blow us up. If you touch one, the ship's going up in flames. Nobody's surviving that.
We never had an incident, did we?
To my knowledge, no.
Okay.
The military, there's a lot of stuff they don't say.
Publicized?
Yeah,
Sure.
My ship was part of it. Anyway, so we had this mine training. So what you would do was you'd you'd see something in the water looks like a mine, or just you call it out as a mine. You'd radio to the bridge. It's this many degrees to the left. Give them the coordinates so they can start trying to turn the ship. Well, these ships are so big they can only turn so fast. So you have to help them with the power of the hose to create waves of a ripple in the ocean to push the mine away from the ship. You talk about PTSD and distress. Like, you got 1,500 people's life in your hand with a fire hose to protect them.
It's like a
fire hose.
And a helmet.
Yeah,
And
the
a
helmet.
reflective vest.
And don't forget the helmet, because when it blows up, we want Aaron's head to be safe. What? I used to call my mom, and I'm like, man, I think I made a mistake, but I definitely didn't. No, it was an amazing time. I survived with no serious injuries. Great 10 years, man. By the time I was 21, I had been to Spain, Malta, Israel, Italy, France, Egypt. I'm missing one. I can't remember the other one, but I had traveled and been to some pretty phenomenal places in just a small period of time, and it was free, and they paid me to do it. So great time serving my country, man. I am a proud veteran. I love the time that I spent. I love what I got to see. The relationships that I still have with a lot of the guys that on my first command. We still keep in touch. Those relationships will always be there. So just a really good time, man. Really good time.
So, being on a ship, what ship were you on? Are you allowed to talk about that?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
All right.
I was on the USS Shreveport, LPD-12. The USS Shreveport is a Marine-based ship. Basically, we carry the Marines' vehicles on our ship, and it's the coolest thing if you ever want to YouTube something and see something cool with the Navy. The LPD, the back of the LPD has it's like a gate, basically. The back of the ship has a gate. The gate will open up and go into the water. The ship will take on water. It'll kind of go like this, like at an angle. And the tanks and all the stuff that floats, basically, for the Marines will just go in the water, and that's how they take off into land. It's an amazing thing to see. Awesome. The technology, and that was back in the 90s. It's 20 times better now. But just cool stuff, man. Vert reps, how we get fuel, and you never stop. The ships don't stop. They're at 20 knots. A ship that's doing 20 knots pulls up next to it. A hose goes across from ship to ship. They hook it up, and you're getting fuel while you're doing 20 knots. Like vert reps, food, same thing.
So that's not a nuclear powered.
No, that one isn't a nuclear powered, and that has been. I think that's definitely been decommissioned. I'm sure by now, because it was an older ship when I was on it. But after that, I went to shore duty, and my next ship was the DDG Porter. The Porter was a nuclear destroyer.
Okay.
It was actually the first The USS Porter launched the first missile, I believe, when 9/11 happened. I believe they were one of. You might have to check on that just to make sure. But I'm almost because they prided themselves on that, saying they were the first to kind of spark the war after 9/11 happened.
Wow.
Yeah, DDG 78, I believe.
Yep.
Yep,
You are
small
correct.
ship, little. You feel every wave. It's like we call it walking on the walls. Like when the ship rocks, it's like you're walking up on a wall. Like,
Quit it.
oh, it's horrible. Seasick is not. Yeah, it's. They call it in the Navy getting your sea legs, right? So you'll see new people on the ship. Faces are green. They're throwing up in trash cans. Like horrible seasickness. But your body will eventually get used to it, and then it won't even bother you. It's
I don't
almost
want to
like
get used to that.
joke. Like you don't have a choice. You signed up now. You're stuck.
No. No, hell no.
But beautiful times, man. I that is one of the pinnacles of my life was joining the military and just an amazing experience. It really helped me find myself. I always had a work ethic that I didn't know I had until I joined the military. And then I knew my parents weren't mean for all the chores they had me doing every weekend when my buddies were out riding their bikes. Hey, Aaron, you coming to ride bikes? No, I gotta clean up the dog poop, or I gotta cut the grass around the fence. Something like that. I always had chores, 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 chores. But those all the stuff my parents were doing were establishing an amazing work ethic. So I was like, why does everybody want me on their team in the military? Like, yeah, man, get Mastro, he'll be on our squad. Why? And I didn't know because at that age, 19, 20, 21 years old, you don't really know a work ethic or what your value is. You know what I mean? It takes till you get older and you kind of revisit some of that stuff to really know. But just great times, man. Great times. I could never. I'm actually been talking to my son, just planting a seed though to potentially join the military, just because I want him to get the GI Bill, man, and go to college for free. I mean, these college debts are something serious. That's a whole nother conversation.
Well, how old is he?
He's 16.
Okay.
16, yep. Little Jordan. That's my guy. Well, I say little. He's 5'11", about 215 pounds, 16-year-old. He's
Thick boy.
a tank. A tank.
Thick.
He's playing football right now, doing great. Great kid. And my daughter, Alyssa, is 20. And I have a granddaughter as well, Alsani.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my tribe. That's my crew. I love them to death.
So,
great kids.
so you're in the military. How was boot camp for a guy from Cleveland?
So, let me tell you about boot camp. So, we get off the boat. The boat. Oh, I'm back in the. I'm a step ahead of myself. We get off the plane, jump on a bus. They take us right into the gate of Chicago NTC. We are standing at tables. In tables about the size of your table, with 3 guys at each table with a box in front of them. The guy says, "Attention, everybody! You got approximately 2 minutes to strip down of that crap civilian clothes you're wearing and put that stuff on in front of you." So everybody's like, "What the hell?" He blows a whistle. Move! So everybody butt naked. We're all standing around, but you got to put the military underwear on and everything, like traditional white boxers. This blue Navy, they call it the Smurf suit, the Navy sweatsuit. They call it a Smurf when we're in boot camp at first because we had to wear all blue with white on it, obviously. So it was a culture shock, man. I am a mama's boy, so leaving home for the first time was a little traumatizing for me. You know what I mean? I'm like, Mom, like, but it was an awesome time, man. The first few weeks are the roughest. You're really getting tried a lot. You're getting dropped, like drop meaning like push-ups if you do something wrong. We didn't get a phone call till like the 4th day. I'm in tears. Again, Mom, I made a mistake. I want to come home. She's like, Lord, what's going on? I'm like, this just ain't for me. I'm just, shocked for a young kid fresh out of high school, man. Like, I haven't really been anywhere but Cleveland. You know what I mean? I'm way in Chicago. No family connections. I got these dudes around me. I don't even really know them. Some of them are from Ohio, some not. But it progressively gets better in boot camp. They kind of whoop you for like maybe the first 2, 3, 4 weeks. Kind of break down that civilian mentality and build a military mind.
Okay.
And then it starts to get a little bit easier. They start really kind of gearing you towards what the Navy is actually going to be like. That's just kind of an opener to really just kind of whip you into shape a little bit.
Yeah.
Get rid of that Cleveland City mindset.
So I have to ask because I think of all the military movies that happen. Were you the guy called Cleveland from your
So,
from your
no.
group?
Funny story. So no, it's always been Mastro. Mastro Donato is my last name. They half it. It's been half since St. Thomas More football in grade school. Um,
See, and I think of Donato's Pizza.
yeah, very good pizza.
It's very good
Very
pizza.
good pizza.
It's on the last trip.
So back in that time, we had to stencil our own clothes. You're gonna love this story. You'll probably bust my balls about this another time. We have to. They give us a stencil with our last name on it. You have to stencil on the corner of your shirt, above the pocket, and on the back of your pants. Right. So
Okay.
if you can be seen from who you are from the front and the back. I messed the stencil up. Mastro Donato, 12 letters. I don't know if I moved or something. Again, ADHD is a mother flipper. I mean, it can pull you out of some things. So I'm stenciling, and I lift the stencil up, and I'm like, you got to be shitting me. And we had to pay for these uniforms. It came out of our first military check. You
Oh.
pay for them. So the shirts are like $40 a piece. The pants are $55. I'm like, oh my God. And I'm just embarrassed. So I go to the our officer to the office. I said, hey man, can I go to the commissary and buy some shirts? He's like, what happened? I said, man, the first two shirts, I messed them up. He's like, let me see. He said, put a line through it and put your name on top of the. Oh my God, are you kidding me right now?
For you?
That's torture.
For you, that's
There's 55 of us in this unit, and I'm the only one with a line through. Not Smith, not a quick little baby line, a line that's the size of the pocket.
it's the size
Oh
of your
my
chest.
God, I was so embarrassed for weeks. I couldn't wait for the first check to hit to get new uniforms. I'm like, I will not walk around like this. I am too prideful.
Did you keep one at least?
I should have. I don't. I have a dungaree shirt at home, but it's not one with the line through it.
You
But
probably
damn, I
couldn't-
should have kept
You
it.
probably couldn't fit in.
I lost a lot of stuff over the years, man. Pictures, with
Yeah.
these phones now.
Yeah.
Nobody takes pictures. We used to have the little, remember the disposable
35?
cameras? You
Yeah.
put it in a bag or something, and you get your pictures in a couple days.
Yeah, go to Walmart.
Oh, I lost all those pictures, man. Just moving from state to state. Just how moving is. You lose stuff in the go. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So what was other than that, what was the thing that stuck out the most about being up at Great Lakes?
Great Lakes Church. This is a funny story. So on Sundays they had different. Oh, this is funny. Lord, forgive me for this. They had different services on Sundays.
Okay.
So, Monday through Saturday, we're pretty much locked in the unit. We're being drilled. We're marching. We got all this stuff going on. Sunday's kind of like a chill day.
Okay.
So you were allowed to go to a church service, right? Obviously, I was born and raised Catholic. I'm Italian. It just kind of goes with the territory. They go together. You're Italian, you're Catholic. um, so I would go to the Catholic service, and then you were supposed to go back to your unit and just spend the day like whatever, shining your boots, something like that. So, anyways, my buddy and I would go. We try to make all 5 services so we could go out of the unit. So we're in a Baptist service one time. We're in name a religion, Pentecostal, like whatever services they had. We would just show up and just sit, and it was just to be out of the unit. One time, somebody actually noticed us, an RDC noticed us, and we were marching, and we ran back to the unit. We actually ran from this dude and ran in the unit and tried to like hurt and take our uniforms off so we'd blend in with everybody. Thank God we didn't get caught. I'm sure he'll hear this and he'll know who he is, my buddy I ran with. But yeah, man, I mean, you got to think of it. You're a young kid, and then just wanting to be around some girls. Like we got a unit full of 40 dudes. You just want to say hi to somebody or make eye contact.
Somebody that smells better than you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, a blast. So yeah, that definitely stands out. Seeing my mom, my dad, and my little sister at the time in the stands when we marched in for graduation. I see my dad crying. He had a tear in his eye. My mom's, they were so proud of me. I'm like, I'm finally becoming a man. Like, look at my parents, how happy they are. That was big for me.
Right.
I definitely have pictures of that. I have those pictures, but that was big, man. Seeing my parents proud of me has always been a thing for me. I guess as as a kid and even as a grown up, like I'm always striving to just to make them happy. I want my
Sure.
parents to be proud of me and know that they did a good job and I'm in a good space. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Well, I got to tell you, when you said you went to the Pentecostal, in my mind, I thought of Forrest Gump when
Oh,
Forrest
boy.
Gump went with Bubba's
Oh
to
boy.
Bubba's church,
Uh-huh.
and he's standing in the choir, and everybody else is getting down with the
Right.
get down,
He's like,
and he's kind of
lost.
just like there. That's what I see in my
That
mind's
is a phenomenal
eye
movie.
with you at
I
the
can see it.
Pentecostal.
I see it, man.
I'm sorry.
There was some awesome music in the Baptist church, though. People were clapping their hands, and I'm like, I'm Catholic, so when I see people, got cymbals and stuff, I'm like, what in the world? Where are we at
Right.
now? But they were in there rocking. I'm like, well, this is some really cool praise and worship. I'm kind of digging this right now.
Right.
Oh boy,
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. So you graduate, march across the stage. How long did you get before you left to go to your first duty assignment, or did you have to go to a school?
So I went right to San Diego, California. Yeah, real rough place. Thank you, military. Thank you, government.
What a beautiful
To
place.
San Diego, California, Great Lakes, NTC, training center for a supply department for cook school. Actually, California was absolutely amazing. This will really mess you up, especially with the way times are now. On the weekends, we would get on a rapid transit, like a train,
Okay.
right? We call it RTA back in Cleveland, or rapid transit. You could get on a train for $7, and within an hour or so, you'd be in Tijuana, Mexico. Like that's how much it costs to get to Mexico. You can't do that now, obviously. There's so much.
Right.
The
There's
world's
so much
just,
red tape.
Oh, it's horrible.
I got to go to Nicaragua in
Yeah.
January, and I'm not looking forward to it.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm looking forward to being there. I'm not
Yeah.
looking forward to the process of getting there,
I can see it.
because you got to fly from Raleigh to Miami,
Okay.
and then Miami to Managua, and then it's a 2-hour car ride with an armed guard to get you to Esteli.
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
So Puro Sabor is the Nicaraguan cigar festival, and
Wow.
well, hell yeah, you only live once, so let's go to Puro
Yeah.
Sabor.
Yeah, heck yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, you could go to Tijuana for $6 or $7, man. So there was a club there at the time called Club XS. Club XS was the biggest warehouse. It was like the size of 2 Walmarts. It was a club.
Wow.
Get this. The cover charge is $5, right?
American?
Gets better. Yes.
Okay.
$5 to get in. Here's the kicker. The drinks are free the entire night. You don't pay $1. I don't even know how they do that. But you got to figure there's probably 2,500 or 3,000 people in here, and the liquor is pennies on the dollar. It's a
Cheaper.
quarter of the price than it is in the United States.
Right. It's
So
crazy.
like tequila bottle might be $5. They made that off of one person at the door.
Right.
I'm just throwing numbers out there,
Right,
but
right.
you talk about loaded. I think I had alcohol poisoning like the first 2 weekends we went there just from tequila. Like I'm not really fond of tequila to this day. I'll drink it, but
You can drink down there at 18, right?
yes.
Okay.
You could drink on the base at 18 back then.
Oh,
I don't know if
really?
that's still a thing.
Oh, okay.
Back then.
Showing
it
your age a
seems-
little bit.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. That's another story. But yeah, Tijuana, Mexico was amazing. A School was amazing. Just a really good time, man. It
what
was
did you
kind of
learn?
like you break free from that. Not really break free from the militant structure, but that structure of boot camp, like somebody on your butt all the time. You know what I mean? It was more of a freedom. It was kind of like being in college, basically.
What did you learn at A school? Is that what you said it was?
Yeah, A School. Yeah,
Okay.
it was basically a culinary school.
Really?
Culinary school. Yeah.
Do you cook at all?
Oh yeah. Now, no, I have an amazing wife that has me beat. She always tells everybody, she's like, he has a background in culinary and has all this 20-something years of food service experience, and he does not cook at home. But I'm the breakfast guy at home. My omelets are phenomenal.
See, I love
She
omelets.
loves my omelets, my French toast. Like I do. I'm a breakfast guy. But my wife's an amazing cook. That's a whole other topic. But
Yeah.
her cooking is so amazing. Like
Yeah,
there's no reason for me to cook.
I will.
I wouldn't play myself.
I will. Yeah, that shepherd's pie that we
Oh,
had.
yeah, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
God dang.
Listen,
Yeah.
a vegan shepherd's pie at that.
Yeah.
It was not real meat.
Yeah, I know, and
And you're a meat guy.
Yeah, I'm an American, red-blooded.
I'm an American.
I'm an American.
American.
No, it absolutely it was the first vegan thing I ever ate.
Mm.
You brought that. What holiday was that? There was something.
No, it wasn't a holiday. I just came up to hang out with you guys.
Oh,
and
at the
smoke a
firehouse.
cigar.
Yeah, you came to the
smoked a
firehouse.
cigar, and I
Hadn't eaten lunch, and then we all
didn't
ate
eat my
your
lunch. Yeah, and I warmed it up. But I'm like, we brought 3 spoons out. Like, hey, you guys got to try this. Like, I like introducing people to new stuff. I'm not trying to change anybody to be a vegetarian.
I think we could
but-
lobby her to maybe make some of that.
Oh, heck yeah.
You can swear.
She
You want to
loves
say
it, though.
fuck, you can say
Nah,
fuck.
I try not to curse these days.
It's all right. I do enough for
No,
the
she
both of
would.
us.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
So you go and you learn how to cook,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. So first duty station.
First duty station, Norfolk, Virginia, USS Shreveport.
So you have literally got to see both oceans,
I've been
a
everywhere.
Great Lake,
Yeah.
and you lived on a Great Lake.
Yep.
Wow.
Wonderful Lake Erie.
Yeah, and people that don't understand, lake effect is real for
Oh.
snow.
Boy. Listen, you don't know what cold is until you lived in a city like Cleveland.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
I
were in. So Christy's mother lives in northern Wisconsin, damn near Minneapolis, like an hour and 10 minutes outside the city,
Mm.
and just on the Wisconsin side on a lake, and you can have it.
Mm.
We were up there right around Halloween,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Nah, thanks.
Yeah, I don't want no
I'm ready."
more
I mean, the leaves were beautiful,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I hadn't seen the leaves change like that in years.
Right.
And I was taking pictures like a tourist, taking time for things in life, doing some mental therapy and just driving and smoking cigars on boat ramps and talking to guys going fishing because I can't fish. I'm not very good at it.
Never tried to fish. I've never fished before.
Yeah, it's just not my thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Christy's good at it. I'm
Okay.
not. We went.
And I'm not a fish eater, so I would.
See, and
I would do it for sport.
I love fish.
Okay.
Fish is healthy for you.
It is.
I just.
I wish I liked it.
You just don't like it. It's a texture thing. See, salads is for me. Like
It's a look thing.
oh.
Eyeballs, fins.
No.
a
You
tail.
just eat it like it's.
But it's still in my head. Like,
Ah.
like this thing used to have a tail, and
I
he had
get it.
eyeballs, and he might have had feelings. I don't know.
Come on.
I'm joking.
220 pounds of you, pure lean muscle as you're sitting here, and you're going
He
to
might
give
have
me.
had feelings. I'm a different guy now.
Jesus.
I'm
I mean, you did drive up in a Tesla.
I did. Oh, wait a minute. That is a phenomenal all-wheel drive car. I needed to get through those rocks that I just.
I mean, it's a long driveway.
I love it though.
It's peaceful
it's
back here, isn't
peaceful.
it? Yeah.
Peaceful,
This is
amazing. This is peace.
yeah. This is once we get it all cleaned back up. It's been a long year. It'll be really good.
Yeah.
So you go to Norfolk. What do you do there?
So I go to Norfolk. I'm on the USS Shreveport. I am there. I am on the USS Shreveport for 4 years.
4 glorious years.
4.5 actually. During my 4.5 years on the USS Shreveport, I do 3 deployments. Now, three deployments doesn't sound like a lot, but there's people that have done 20 years in the military that haven't done 3 deployments. I actually did it my first enlistment. That's just because of that type of ship. Those Marine ships, they stay gone. You got to have Marines over there somewhere close to land in case something jumps off.
Right.
So yeah, Virginia was a rough go for me, man. I kind of still had some Cleveland in me. I was
Believe
doing
land.
some things. I went to jail a couple times during my enlistment. Just running with some rough dudes, man, and doing some not so good some street stuff. I'll just say that Cleveland street stuff. So yeah, I had a couple hard knock lives. God's always had His hand on me, man. I never forget the first time I went to jail. I was in the Virginia Beach jail for almost 2 days, and I sat in there and looked around, and I'm like, this is so not you. Like, what are you come from a good family, good stock. What are you doing in coveralls right now in a jail cell? I said, God, I know you can, but if you get me out of this, I promise you, like, I will change my life. Like, I know better, and I was smarter than that. But, you just get caught up. Product of your environment is real, man. I'm not going to get in the depth of what
Sure.
the legal ramifications were, but it could have went serious. I could have did 20 years in prison.
Well, here's the thing. So we'll just save everybody the drama.
Yeah.
You're employed as a correctional officer to this
I am
day.
Federal. We'll say
So and that's where we'll leave it.
Yeah.
That's where it needs to be left.
Yeah.
And everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm a product of mistakes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So learning and growing is important.
Yeah.
And judging people and sitting back it's not becoming. You know, like
Yeah.
the person that you are today, the person that I know as my friend, the person I love as my friend,
Yeah.
that's the guy I want to hang with.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everybody has
For sure.
troubled past. It just sometimes people didn't get caught.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
so
For sure.
it is what it is. But you learned from that, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just a
Great lessons.
yeah.
Amazing. Some, like you say, some hard knock lessons were learned. I'll never forget. My chief came to see me the second day I was in there. He said, "Mastro, what the hell?" I said, "Chief, I know." He said, "What's I think my bond was maybe $5,000, 2,500, something like that." He said, "Do you want me to call your parents?" I said, "No, please don't call my parents." I said, "Can you just get me out and I'll pay the money back?" He's like, "Man, I don't really have that kind of cash." He's like, "I'll figure something out." Well, guess what he did as soon as he got in his car?
Called your mom.
Called my dad.
Oh shit.
I was out in 30 minutes. 30 minutes. I said, "What the hell just happened?" So my chief had called somebody, one of my buddies, to come pick me up. So when my buddy shows up, I'm thinking it's him. So I'm like, "Hey man, like, thank you so much." He's like, "Man, just get in the car." He was kind of disgusted with me, rightfully so. I said, "Man, thank you. Like, what do I owe you?" He's like, "I was sent to pick you up." He's like, "Your dad bailed you out." He said, his orders were for you to call him as soon as you get home. I said, "Oh, Lord,
shit.
I'm not ready for this." So my dad, I get home and call my dad. He said, "Aaron, what the hell?"
He didn't say AA Ron.
No, he didn't hit me with the AA round. I don't think that was around in 97, 98. He hit me with the, my family, Italians were weird, bro. We half everything. So I'm air at home. Like, even my wife calls me air because she hears my mom and my dad say it so much.
Sure.
We half everything. Anyway, so she, "Air, what in the, I know, Pop. Listen, this is some Italian-ish right here. I got this lawyer friend in Virginia Beach, Mark Del Duca. I'll never forget him. A saint. He's like, you go there. I've already paid for him. Tell him everything. Don't lie to him. He's gonna help you. If you lie to him and something happens, you're just gonna have to wear it. Like, you're looking at a dishonorable discharge.
Oh
Honestly.
shit.
Oh yeah, dishonorable discharge and potential prison time." So my dad spent some serious money for this attorney, some serious money for court costs, all this stuff, bonding me out of jail. Thank God God and Mark Del Duca as his angel got me off scot free, man, scot free. I believe the military played a big part in that, as far as me just coming from a good family, and serving my country and never being in trouble ever, up until that point. So got off scot free. I had a second chance of life. I think I lost 10 pounds, and I was skinny then. Like, within 2 weeks, like, I was so scared that my life was going to be over with. Like,
Right.
what do you do as a dishonorable discharge and potentially a convicted felon? What do you do with that?
Yeah.
Where do you
where,
go?
where do you go from here?
I'm go be a welder downtown Cleveland somewhere, work, welding or something. Like, you'd have to pick up a trade
Right.
and get hired on somewhere. So thank God it didn't go that way. And look, I'm in law enforcement now. What in the world? But it's a beautiful story, and that's why I'm so successful at my job, because I know where I could have been.
Right.
That's why I'm respected at my job. That's why the guys that are in prison, they'll see me when they get out. Man, introduce me to their family. Like, I was some, mentor to them almost. But
Sure.
it's just because of the way I conduct myself. I'm just always trying to be a good
Well,
person.
we talked about it one of the
Yeah.
first times we ever smoked a cigar together. We were at a little lounge just BSing and talking, and I believe things happen for a reason, and we started chatting, and you said to me something pretty profound. You said, "It's not my job to punish them; they've already been punished. My job is just to manage it."
Period. The courts did that to them.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm just security from them and themselves.
yeah, because
Basically.
they have nothing but time to
Right.
do things to themselves.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Well, Aaron, I got to talk about a few people that help us put on training down the road.
Yeah.
We talked about Karen Berger Cigars being the official cigar of the Halligans and Half Wheels podcast, but we can't do what we do with training firemen and doing this podcast without some of these people, and that's Firehooks Unlimited. Don't be fooled by imitators. Box 1971 is an authorized trainer and distributor of Firehooks Unlimited tools. Firehouse Innovations Corporation, with over 2,700 doors use worldwide. Firehouse Innovations is the key to forcible entry. Akron Brass, flow meters, nozzles, appliances. Akron Brass doesn't need catchy slogans. Old Pappy's Tool Lube. You'll appreciate this, Aaron. Don't be a fool. Lube your tool.
Oh, wow.
It's on the can, bro. First in Leather. Use the code BOX1971 for a 10% discount at checkout or of $50 or more on your order for custom radio straps or helmet fronts. Rock Rooster Boots. Every step matters. Be the cock of the walk. Rock out with your cock out. Rock out with Rock Rooster.
Wowzers.
Yeah, and you get a Box 1971 discount code
I
for
need
those.
that on a T-shirt.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Or a hat.
Yeah. I mean, you can say it because it's their slogan.
Right.
And Thompson Multimedia. If you can imagine it, Shooter Thompson, he can make it happen. Awards, trophies, graphics, decals, vehicle wraps. Thompson Multimedia is the one-stop shop for those needs. So we've how do I say this? You beat the charge, so you go back to work.
Yeah.
How are you received at work?
Really, it wasn't a big conversation. Only the people that were close to me knew what was going on. It wasn't like a ship-wide thing.
Like now it'd be on TikTok.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
And here's the other thing. With that situation, when I got on with my current career, I got an offer letter. Everything's looking good. I'm excited. It took me 2 years to get on, right?
Sure.
So I move, relocate to get, to be working at this job, and I get a call from Human Resources. Hey, man, we know you weren't charged with anything, but there's something with this criminal charge, in Norfolk, Virginia Beach area at this certain time. We're going to need for you to write a memo. So I asked the lady, I said, well, am I still hired? She's like, honestly, I wish I could answer that, but I can't. She's like, just get a memo to me as soon as you can. And just basically, she said, explain the circumstances of what happened and just be honest. And I said, okay. So my heart dropped. I'm like, right back to that day, 10 years ago. I'm like, what? Is this thing going to curse me for the rest of my life? Like, I don't even have a record.
Yeah.
But it's part of, when they do their investigating, they go deep.
Yep.
They can talk to your 7th grade, teacher and ask them if you chewed gum in class. They'll do it.
Right.
So send the memo. 2 weeks go by. Get a call from HR. Hey, got your memo. Everything's good. I won't tell anybody about what just happened either with that lighter.
Yeah, it's all right.
Blowing up your hand. But
I didn't expect it to trigger.
In a firehouse.
I know.
Where's the extinguishers in this place? We should have had a safety walkthrough before we.
We should exit here. It's like being on an airplane. Are you willing, able to assist?
Right.
I need a verbal confirmation. A head
That
shake
was
doesn't do it.
hilarious.
Sorry, buddy.
Hilarious. But yeah, man, the memo, everything was good. Obviously, still got hired. I've been there 10 years now. Phenomenal career I've had so far, and yeah, interesting, man. Interesting to know what I went through to come. Who would know after going through that little,
Hiccup.
speed bump hiccup with that time that I would be doing this now and having a whole different aspect of it. So yeah,
So
interesting.
you're 4.5 years, right? So
What's that?
your first 4.5
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
you're on the
USS Shreveport.
Shreveport.
Mm-hmm.
So this happens. Meritorious service after that, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's good.
Everything's great.
What rank are you at the end of that 4.5 years?
E4.
Okay.
Yeah, 3rd class petty officer. I do that, and I get orders to go to Hawaii.
Shut up.
Hawaii. Guess what I did?
Turn them down.
Turned them down.
Why?
Great. So, some of the guys I was in A school with in San Diego, we kind of got to pick where we wanted to go because where we were positioned in the class. So a lot of us went to the USS Shreveport, mainly one of my guys that I was really close with.
Okay.
So we were just enjoying Virginia so much, man, and just having friends there. I'm going to have to go to Hawaii and start all over, make new friends, learn new people. I'm like, who wants to go through that? And I'm like, I'm having a blast in Virginia, even though I went through what I went through. But it was still good. I knew a lot of people. I knew a lot of business owners, guys I hung out with, just good people I was around. I'm like, I'm having too much fun here to uproot, and I'm not into all that moving. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Hawaii could have been a phenomenal experience, but again, God positioned me to where He needed me to be, and I made a decision, and it worked for me. So I ended up staying in Norfolk. Norfolk was my spot for 10. My entire military career was spent in Virginia.
Really?
People hop around every 3-4 years for shore duties. My shore duty, I did 3 years in Portsmouth, Virginia, which is right down the street from Norfolk,
Right.
in the shipyard, working at the barracks. Then when I went right back to Norfolk to the USS Porter. So yeah, Virginia's like a second home, man. I spent almost 10 years there, and I love that place.
Wow.
I really do.
So when you went to the Porter, what's a significant story that sticks out about the Porter?
USS Porter. Really nothing. Just it was so small, and you'd be seasick. Like, I wasn't there very long. Less than, let's see, 4, 7, 2 years. I was there 2 years, and then I ended up getting out. It was just time for me to move on into bigger and better things. So yeah, USS Porter. There's nothing really that sticks out. It was some really good dudes I worked with. Great crew, good guys I worked with.
Still keep up with them?
That crew, no. My USS Shreveport guys, I'm definitely still in contact with some good guys. My buddy Thomas Maunger. We keep up with each other on Facebook, and
Sure.
we'll message each other every now and then just to kind of check on each other. But just awesome guys on that first ship, man. That was kind of like my first run.
So my buddy in Texas, Mark Donahue, was a nuclear guy on a sub, and he met Scott Buffa from Pennsylvania, and they were going to nuke school together. And they met on the bus. They became instant friends.
Nuke school. He made some money too.
Well, they're both smart individuals.
Well, I bet.
Scott still works in the industry. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
And he's a bourbon and cigar connoisseur.
Nice.
And Donahue's just an old cowboy that
Okay.
lives out west of Fort Worth, sells real estate.
Okay. Hey,
But-
there's money in that.
But Donahue's a good dude, and but it's funny to see these guys and their connection to service and their friendship. It started on the bus that you talked about getting off
Yeah,
of. That's where
yeah.
they became friends,
Yeah.
and they've been friends. Christ, they're probably 50 years old now,
Gotcha.
and tight friends, and that's led into a friendship with me and Buffa, and obviously me and Mark. But it's really interesting to hear their story and the parallel between your story of keeping up with your people and them keeping up with themselves.
There's one guy, and I can't even remember his name right now, but we were on the actual bus in Cleveland together. You want to talk about a funny story? I don't even know how I missed this in boot camp. We're gonna retract a little bit.
That's all right.
So we have to take a swim test, right? So the swim test is you're jumping off of a diving board that's probably, this number might be a little dramatic, but you're about 20 or 30 feet up in the damn air.
It's probably 10 feet.
He's definitely not 10 feet. It was over 20. We're going to say 25, all right? We'll do a happy medium. 25. So what you have to do is you have to step off the diving board. You don't dive or anything crazy. You step off. You jump into the water. You have to tread water for 60 seconds, and then you have to swim the lap of the pool, and then you pass, right? You're in about, 15, 20, 30 feet of water. I don't even know how big. It was a huge Olympic-sized pool. So my buddy's behind me. So everybody's like a little nervous. I know I can swim. My mom had me in swimming lessons at the YMCA when I was probably 5. Excuse me. So I know what my potential is. So I'm nervous because I want to pass, but I know I'm going to pass. Anyways, my buddy that was on the bus with me, this big time fullback from Cleveland, muscular, good shape, chiseled, great personality. I'm like, man, how are you? Oh man, I'm good, man. I'm just ready to knock this out. I said, cool. So he's behind me, right? So once you tread once you tread the water, you kind of swim up, and the next person has to jump in, which is him, right?
Okay.
I had to put my cigar. Too bad the people can't see this. This dude jumps in the water. When his head surfaces, he's like, this is all you see, his hands like this. He's hollering. He can't swim. He can't swim. Why did you jump and not tell anybody? They could have put him in remedial and helped him learn, taught him how to swim. So the lifeguard sticks this, one of those hooks with the thing. They're grab the hook. They're pulling him in. They pull him up. He's laying on the side, like spitting water up. I'm like, so after like we get back to the poor dude. After we get back to the unit.
They didn't kick him out right there.
No,
did
they didn't. No,
Okay.
no. They won't kick you out. They'll teach you how to swim.
Okay.
So the days where we get to chill and we're just sitting in the unit shining our boots, he's in swim class. That's basically how it works.
Okay.
Yeah, he don't get to chill. You're gonna learn how to swim today. So we get back to the unit. I said, dude, like, were you nervous? What the hell happened? He said, dude, I've never swam in any deep water in my entire life. I said, why the hell did you jump? He's like, you ready for this? Man, I didn't want anybody to make fun of me. I said, well, they're busting your balls now. You just about drowned. You're the only one in the class
Dipshit.
that was throwing hands. Oh, hilarious.
trying to beat the water into
Oh,
submission.
God, it was funny. But, yeah, shout out to him. I can't even remember his name right now. That was in 95.
So things have changed, it looks like, in the water test. It's a 5 to 10 foot platform.
5 to 10. You know what? Close your laptop. My story was better. 10 foot is trash.
Listen.
25 foot. I'm sticking with it, and I'm taking it to my grave. I jumped off of a 25-foot plank into shark-infested waters with a knife.
In fresh water. Jacques Cousteau style.
I had Navy SEALs that swam out to try to drown me to see if I could stand afloat for 2.5 minutes, and then I passed. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
I love it. No, I was curious to see what things change, right?
Yeah.
So it just says that's a deep water jump. You have to jump from there.
2023. That's because all these young kids are.
Now they have to do a 50-yard swim, and they have to. I don't think they even make. You have to make your. You have to do face down float, and then you have to do like clothing as a
face down float. Oh, you have to inflatable clothing. Yeah, we had to do that too.
Yeah.
The pants. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, tie that off, I guess.
you tie
I thought
them
that
up
was just
to-
a movie thing.
No, that's real. Yeah, they show you how to tie a knot at the base and hold. I don't even remember. It's been so long, but it will help you float for. I don't even know how long. With a pair of pants, dungarees at the time.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll be dang.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to wear the jeans?
That's where dungarees are.
That's our dungaree.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. Those
All right.
those have phased out, thank God, because they were the official bell bottoms.
You kept a pair of those, right?
I didn't.
Bro.
All I have is a shirt. I'm bad with keeping stuff, dude. I'm so not a hoarder. not that there's anything wrong with hoarding, but it's just not my thing because of my brain. But like I threw so much stuff out over the years, and now as an adult, I'm like, dude, what were you thinking? Like those are memories, and something to cherish. But yeah, no, the dungarees are gone. But I do have a dungaree shirt though. Still the dungaree shirt. It's got my rank on it. It's got the stencil,
The correct
old
stencil.
school. Yeah, the correct stencil. The lined out one should be somewhere.
It's
just
probably
not-
in a Goodwill
Just
somewhere.
not in my closet. that wasn't a good memory.
Oh, that's funny. We may have to try to find you one of those shirts because it's pretty badass. I mean, that's pretty badass.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I love my time in the military, man. Love it.
So you get out after 10 years.
yeah.
You're like, all right, what am I going to do?
Boy, that was a scary thing. So I had my paperwork in for the Merchant Marines. I don't know how familiar you are with Merchant Marines, but
Just educate me.
yeah, basically back working on a ship, civilian sector. There's a ton of money in it. I could basically go there and be a cook and go out on like 2 or 3 month deployments, come back with 40 or 50 grand in my pocket. Like they were paying these guys. I knew 2 dudes doing it that schooled me on the process, and they were making a killing.
Now, is that like Great Lakes stuff?
That's all over the world stuff.
Oh,
Merchant
okay.
Marines, yeah. Merchant
Okay.
Marines they're basically civilian ships that assist military ships.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're out in the water, maybe supplying with food, but we do the same channels that the Navy does. You're just not overseas. You're just local, but you're out on the water for months at a time.
Okay.
Yeah, cool stuff. Didn't do it. Ended up in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, in healthcare. I worked at Nash General Hospital. Yeah, my story is all over the place.
I like it though.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful thing about this podcast is we've had people that have grew up in Texas and went to Japan and debriefed soldiers. We've got people that have been on this podcast from Pittsburgh that grew up in West Virginia.
Pittsburgh? You let somebody from Pittsburgh on
Well,
this?
he's originally from West Virginia.
Oh, well, that's good. He got a pass then.
Yeah,
Nobody from Pittsburgh can sit in this seat. No, I'm
He's
joking.
actually a good dude.
I'm joking.
He drinks Grand Marnier.
Oh,
He tells me it's Grand Marnier.
Yeah. Oh, he's bougie.
I'm like, no, buddy, I can read. And there's no hyphen there. That's Mariner.
You know, Pittsburgh and Cleveland have this
Oh, it's
long
terrible.
rival. of
Terrible.
we just do not like each other. I seen a dude in Wake Forest here at the Planet Fitness when I first moved here. I was working out there for a little bit, and he had a Pittsburgh Steelers hat. Never seen him in my life. I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" He said, "Hey, fine." Like probably wondering why I came up to him. I said, "They let you in here with that shirt?" He said, "Are you kidding me?" He's like, "Where are you from? Like, what's your team?" Like, he thought I was going to say, like, Carolina Panthers. I'm like, "Dude, I'm from Cleveland, bro. Get that. You can't wear that in here." So we just had to laugh. I shook his hand. I said, "I'm just busting your balls." But yeah, shout out to Pittsburgh. We're not fans of yours. But
And I'll tell you, there's a great cigar culture in Pittsburgh.
really?
Yeah,
I would have never guessed.
bro.
And I have family there.
We've got a road trip.
Oh,
Me and
I
you,
would love it.
we got to take a week and just road trip. Like
Let's do it.
go to the Midwest and I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll
Kentucky.
let's make a Rust Belt tour. That's what we should
That
do.
would
We
be
should make a
cool.
Rust Belt tour. Just take a week and just make a Rust Belt tour because Pittsburgh, I mean, in some of the weirdest places, there's the Monte Cristo Lounge downtown. There's the Dirty Dog. There's Just the Tip, Cigaro. There are some great shops and great lounges in Pittsburgh. And then, with us traveling as much as we do to teach, it is phenomenal to see these people actually, they're so cool, So
Just so cool.
yeah, they're just cool. I mean, I got to see. I'll show you a picture when we're done of the Pittsburgh skyline. My buddy Butters, he's been on the podcast.
Butters?
Yeah,
Oh, I got to hear how he got that nickname.
he hates it when I call him that.
What's up, Butters?
He took me to PNC, and we got to like that city skyscape is freaking gorgeous with the bridges.
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Just
I've seen pictures. I'm sure it's amazing.
yeah,
in person.
we stood right behind home plate and took it, and he got us really good seats, dude. Pittsburgh. I mean, I love pierogies, right?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Same.
And I'm not a big fan of Permini Brothers. The whole fries on the sandwich and the bread wasn't that great. But
Okay.
shout out to Pittsburgh. Love it.
Yeah.
Great
Well,
place.
Let's do that next year. We got to do more travel.
Yeah,
Next year's our year, man.
24,
Just-
bro. Let's do it.
Let's hit Kentucky. Let's hit a couple bourbon. I know you're not really a bourbon guy.
Yeah, I'm not a bourbon guy.
You don't really like.
It's like
bourbon
saying the Hoover Dam's designed to hold a little bit of water. What's funny is I'm getting text messages right now. A buddy of mine in Kentucky who is his grandfather was Woody Williams, and he was the last living Medal of Honor recipient from World War II. He actually stormed the pillboxes
What?
on Iwo Jima,
Get out of here.
and so I got to be a part of Woody's fundraising events for his honoring Gold Star families, and so he was texting me and he was like, "Hey man, heard you're going to start shooting podcasts this week," and I said, "Yeah." He goes, "We need to get together." So we are planning that as we're talking to you right now. So he's former Army, so
Wow. There'll be some good.
remind me to
stories
tell
in
you an Army comment off when we're done recording.
Okay.
I don't want it going out to the world, but it's pretty damn funny.
that. Okay.
You're gonna laugh your
I'll
ass
laugh
off.
it, I'm sure.
So you're in healthcare. You're in Rocky Mount.
Yep.
So you decide you're going to get married. You meet a woman.
So I'm in healthcare in Rocky Mount. It was an amazing job. So part of my will kind of retract slightly. Part of one of my issues just with myself was because I struggled in school so much, I never felt smart enough, right? Not to this day, but at that point I did. So when I got this job in healthcare, it required a college degree, which I didn't have, but I had so much experience with the military, they picked me right up. And then, they're hiring veterans. I mean, we're built differently. So I start this job. So I'm sitting at lunch with all my coworkers, all these guys, dietitians from Duke University and UNC. And I'm like they were I really had them on this big pedestal. Like, man, what do I even talk about with these people? Like, they're so smart and they get all these accolades. So that healthcare job really helped me to find myself because I had my director who I worked for. He would send me into these meetings with the CEO and vice president of the hospital. Like, hey, Aaron, I need you to stand in for me today. This is what you're going to talk about. And I'm like sweating, like, dude, me? Like, I'm not good at talking in front of people. Like, this isn't my thing. He's like, hey, man, I need you. These are the topics. This is what you're going to touch on. Dan Cantu, I'll never forget him. I have no idea where he's at in life right now. I pray he's healthy and well. By pushing me to do stuff like that, he brought out the kind of the I don't know what the word is, but he brought out who I am today,
Sure.
right? Sitting across from the CEO of the hospital, this dude's got 30 something years of experience here, and this is my first year, and I'm sitting in a boardroom setting. Me, Aaron Cleveland, high school diploma, veteran. Like, I don't even feel worthy at that point. I'm like 29 at the time, 28, 29 years old.
Right.
But man, it kind of brought something out of me. Every time I went to a meeting, my posture was different.
Sure.
I felt like I belonged. It kind of started fueling me to just really strengthen me as a man and show me that I am smart enough, that I do. This dude puts his pants on every morning just like I do. We're
Sure.
no different. You got a couple more pieces of paper than I do.
Right.
But it's I started getting away from that. I'm not intelligent enough, or I'm not smart, or I just have a high school diploma. That's all bullcrap. It was something I was selling to myself, which I got away from that quickly once I started really getting some prestige in the hospital. I worked there for a little over 5 years.
Okay.
National General Hospital. Great start to my getting out of the military.
Good transition, right?
Great transition. Great transition. Healthcare is an amazing field. You're just around so many smart people. You learn so much, man.
Right.
And like I said, it really helped me to kind of step out of my shell of not being enough. Fast forward, one of my buddies from church, he's an officer where I'm at now, or was.
Okay.
He's like, dude, they pick you right up. You're a veteran. You got this, this, and that. This is what the salary looks like. And I'm like, wow, really? And I've always wanted to be in law enforcement after the military, excuse me, but my life just never got positioned to do it.
Sure.
So I put my paperwork in. It takes almost 2 years for me to finally get on.
That's
that
crazy.
was in 2013, investigating, and there was some hiring freezes, just government crap.
Right. It's always
Hiring freeze for 6, 7, 8 months. I'm like,
So does do the furloughs, and forgive my ignorance, do the
No.
furloughs do they affect you if they go on like the government shutdown?
oh yeah, we definitely.
So you're supposed to go to work and still not get paid.
Yeah,
That's neat.
but we get neat. That's a good word for that. That's neat.
That's fucking perfect. That right there
But-
should tell you everything that's wrong.
Yeah, but we do get back paid.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It sucks.
But the
But for-
mortgage is still got to come due.
Doesn't stop. We do get a letter though. You'll get a kick out of this. We get an email with a letter that says that I am a government employee, that I am going through this time where we're not getting paid. You're basically asking for a pass. Some people don't care about that. They might not ping you for like late charges and all that, or whatever. But
I don't think
they
Duke
want their
Power
money.
cares.
No, you don't think they'll cut
The
my lights
grocery
off?
the grocery store doesn't care.
Definitely not.
The credit card company doesn't care if you
No
don't pay your
freebies.
bill.
Yeah, you're not getting any freebies. not-
Holy
like,
shit.
It's not Veterans Day every day where you can go somewhere and eat for free.
You're signing up your kids for
Yeah.
birthdays or going to IHOP.
Yeah, it's rough. It was rough. The last one we had was 2, 3 years ago, maybe, and it was the longest one in history, I think. So yeah, it sucked. If you don't have your stuff together, you'll definitely it'll be a trying time for you, for sure.
Wow.
It was wonderful.
Yeah, it smells really wonderful.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm hitting this Cameroon, and it's got some spicy notes to it, and I really enjoy that. That I just Karen. I don't know. Do you know much about Karen's story?
Just this from the little bit you've told me, and
Sure.
I got a nice. Thanks to you, I have a nice, wonderful section of Karen Berger cigars.
You have the
Humidor.
Cameroon.
I do have the Cameroon.
You
I
do?
surely
You-
do.
yeah.
I surely do. I've gifted a few people.
Yeah.
I put a few people on with it. My boss, some of my coworkers, I've just gifted it to them. Say, hey, tell me if you like them. I got a guy.
How did
I got a guy.
It's funny to hear people. They say they've never heard of Karen Berger, and it always makes me laugh because the cigar industry is crazy. and and hear me out while I say this.
For sure.
Jose Orlando Padron was literally no one, right? The Upmans, when they went to Cuba, were literally no one. And now you can't go into a reputable cigar shop and not see both of those cigars. Now there's obviously with the Cuban embargo, right? There's the the New World Upman, right? And then it's not Cuban,
Right.
and then there's the real Cuban, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear people say, "Well, we've never heard of this brand. We've never heard of this," and it's like, okay, that's cool,
Yeah.
but Karen's a powerhouse. I mean, she's selling cigars that are or tobacco for cigars that's cigar of the year.
Wow.
You know, like
That's big
binder and filler is hers.
Good for her.
And
That's awesome.
you know, being next door to AJ Fernandez, you know, that's a big, big powerhouse name.
Yeah.
And you know, it's amazing to me that people don't know. You know, that I was talking with Bruce, her vice president, and he was like, "Man, when you come to Puro Sabor, you need to get up in the morning and take a walk." You know me well enough to know that I am not a morning person,
All right.
but I am going to make it. I'm going to make it to where I get up in the morning to see the oxen in the field because you know their climate is reverse of ours.
That's gonna
So
be
January down there is prime growing season, right?
Yeah.
So they're still working in the fields and they're doing all this cool stuff, and I get to see all that, right?
Wow.
And to experience Nicaragua, kind of nervous, you know, because they say you know that you gotta pay the guard on the road, pay the police,
Okay,
right,
okay.
to get safe passage. They control the road from the rebels.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. And then having an armed guard take you. And there's buses that are going to shuttle people around and
for
everything.
sure.
And it's safe. It's just you are going to
Fear of the unknown.
yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to you know, that's been my whole career.
Yeah.
is-
Right.
But I've been able to manage it, right?
Right. Now you have no control.
Zero
Yeah.
control. You know, it's if you know a building's shot in the head where the fire's through the roof and it's just the conditions aren't tenable for anybody, there's not much in there, right?
Right.
Risk a little to save a little, risk a lot to save a lot, or risk nothing to save property that's already lost. And so when you look at it like that and you put it in that metric, it makes you appreciate the fact that you can come down a mile-long driveway
Right.
and you can come back here and you
Be at
can
peace.
yeah, be at peace. You know, I've told you a million times, you know, that this is where I want to be. Like I don't like leaving home when I'm home,
Right.
and it's a sanctuary, you know. And people always tell me, "Man, you don't know what you have," and I'm like, "No, I know exactly what I have."
Exactly.
Because in my heart, I love West Virginia. Okay, my people originally come when they got off the boat. They went to Parkersburg, and then migrated to Ohio. I've always wanted to be in West Virginia. I like the mountains. I like the people. They're resilient people. They don't ask much of anybody around them. They're resilient, but I can't replicate this there.
Yeah. Wow.
Everybody keeps telling me, you know, I lost a good friend of mine, Bernie Simmons, God rest his soul. He asked me before he passed if I would help carry him, and I told him I would. And he was a 35-year member of the fire department, taught countless classes, home run of a dude, hated having his picture taken. And when he passed, I was in town and saw him, and I spent actually a week up in the area, and I got to see him every day.
Yeah.
And I watched the gradual decline of my friend, right? Cancer. He elected not to take any more treatments. And, you know, he would send me every day the updated MLS listings.
Wow.
Trying to tell me you need to shuck tail and move up here. And it's, you know, it's on my mind. It's
Yeah.
just I got to have something that is comparable to this. And how do you compare
No, it's
to,
almost,
you know,
can't
you almost have
trademark
to you almost have to see it to believe it. You know, to see what we have. I mean, you know, a lot of people say, man, it's like a fire museum in here.
That's amazing.
And then you get a cigar lounge up top with a walk-in humidor, and you're like,
What?
what? And bourbons and rums. I'm going to bring back some Florida Caña rum from Nicaragua. It's like water.
Really?
It's Florida Caña.
Wow.
Amazing.
I would love to try.
Karen turned me onto it in Daytona Beach. We were smoking, and she says, you need to have this. And I tried some, and I was like, oh, my God. The 25 years the best. So
I would love to have a sip with you. So.
yeah, we will have to do that. We'll have to do that with the lady folks.
Yeah, that would be cool.
The 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 funny thing about Karen is she actually originally started out as a roller in the factory for Kiki.
Wow, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then she and Kiki get married and they have a couple kids and they go back and forth. And Kiki actually founded Cuban Crafters in Miami. He started that. That whole movement was Kiki.
I did not know that. Wow.
So, and he blended for folks like Savinelli back when they were in the cigar game. They're strong in the pipe game now. But he did all that blending, right? And he was with her. And I love history. Like I want to know the why and
Yeah,
you know
you're deep.
dig.
Yeah, you're
dig,
very deep.
dig
You're way
into
deeper
it.
than I can be with that. I
Well,
love
it's like
how
when
passionate you are about
well,
this passion.
like when people talk about a cigar, I want to know about the Viso and the Seco in it. Where does it come from? How was the weather when it was picked? How did they, what was the process when they cured the tobacco?
Yeah.
And that is, so many people want to get on a podcast and or take a platform and use it and monopolize it. Full disclosure, we make no money off this podcast. This podcast actually costs the business money to do, but having partners that help us offset training expenses allow us to put money into this channel and do this, but it's very intensive, right?
Yeah.
To have this kind of setup.
Yeah,
And,
I love it.
when you look at how Karen takes such pride in tobacco, and you can see it when you talk to her, when she talks about it. If you ever get near a store where they have Karen Berger cigars, first off, if you run into one that doesn't, you need to tell them they need to have it.
Right.
Secondly,
I'll pass them your business card.
secondly, there's QR codes on our on the what do you want to call it, on the box front, the talkers, the shelf talkers, and it's actually Karen talking. It's like you scan the QR code and it's her talking
Get out.
about the cigars.
Oh, wow.
And so she talks about how they're constructed, and there's a lot of pride in the tobacco. It's not just a product that's being mass produced. There's people in Esteli that depend on Karen to make their lives. And owning a farm and a factory
That's deep.
is
That's
not
amazing.
something small. There's a lot of pressure there. And then I name dropped the name Jose Orlando Padron. He gave her the name the Queen of Cigars. So here you have the Queen of Cigars, producing highly rated cigars, highly regarded cigars, well-constructed cigars. And you're like, wow. And now she's part of this family. We're a part of her family. It's a great pairing, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I was telling you, I smoked one of your cigars. I was drinking the Moscow Mule and had that had that with your cigar that, and I've told you, full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of infused cigars.
Yeah.
And I have to say,
Except for mine.
yeah, I particularly, I had a guy give me a cigar that was infused with a bunch of different oils, and I opened the bag and I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
But like,
Too much.
yeah, but your cigars are different.
Mild.
And there's, there's still 100% long filler cigars. There's no short filler. It's hand rolled. It's Dominican.
Yep.
But you've chosen to accentuate it, and you're doing your thing, you and your wife.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take anything away because I want to get to that story.
Oh, for sure.
So you move, you take the job with the Fed,
Yep.
right?
Yep. I'm in good old Raleigh, North Carolina.
Philadelphia,
Philadelphia.
the great state of Wake.
Raleigh's a great place. Great place.
It's a great place to visit.
It is. Yeah, I don't want to be there anymore. I have doctor's appointments, and I'm like, my wife's like, you gonna stop and see any of your buddies? I'm like, no, I'm coming back to Franklinton because I don't even want to be in traffic anymore. Like, it's funny to say this, I'm such a country boy now. I love this.
With your Yeezys,
with my Yeezys
and your Van
a
Halen
cowboy
shirt.
hat.
Do you have a cowboy hat,
Do I? So,
bro?
we're all over the place, but let's just have fun with this. So, we'll talk about my wife in a few. But
To
she's
our
from
star.
Cheyenne, Wyoming. So she is officially a cowgirl. She was born and raised in Cheyenne, right? So she's got a whole plethora of cowboy hats and cowboy boots, every color, style. She knows about this stuff. So when we were getting ready to close on this house in Franklinton, and to me it's like deep country, especially coming from Cleveland.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I want a pair of cowboy boots and a cowboy hat for closing. That's how I want to close. I'm rolling in there with a plaid shirt, some jeans,
No, you didn't.
cowboy boots, and a cowboy hat. and
No, you
so she
didn't.
took me to the Boot Barn in Raleigh, and I found me what they call, I believe she calls it, is it a full taco or a half taco? All these cowboy hats have names because of the style, the brim, the
Right.
bend.
Right.
So it's a full taco. I'm gonna look for this picture while we're talking.
You know, you can type in
And
cowboy hat and it'll pull it up, right? On your
will it?
iPhone? Yeah.
Oh wow, look at you, aren't you techie?
Buddy, we have to be techie. Like people want pictures and all sorts of stuff. It's crazy.
Oh, you just taught me something new. Unfortunately, it didn't pull the picture up.
It must not be a cowboy hat. Type in
Right. Wait a minute.
type in Mexican.
Look at it.
I'm
Probably
just
pull
picking.
right up. So yeah, we she takes me to the boot barn. I buy my first pair of cowboy boots, first cowboy hat, and when I tell you, I'm sure you watched what's the big show, Colorado,
Yep,
Yellowstone.
that's actually Montana.
Yellowstone. Oh, you jerk! I can't stand you. You just know every damn thing. You just have all the answers. So yeah, Yellowstone. Yellowstone, isn't that okay? Well, I'm not even gonna go into
The park is in by Cody,
Yeah.
but the show's filmed in. It's actually the Chief Joseph Ranch.
it. Really?
Yeah, it's in.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a real place.
So one of my favorites. So what's the guy with the guy that was like the badass on there?
Rip.
Rip. So I find this hat, and when I put it on, and I kind of have like the Rip kind of beard a little bit. It might be a little bit longer than his. So I put this hat on. I'm like, oh, this is giving me Rip vibes all day. I need this hat. So I buy this hat and cowboy boots. How can I not find this flipping picture?
What kind of boots did you buy?
I don't really know the name brand. I just know they were like way more expensive than my Yeezys.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I'm right there with you.
those cowboy boots are something, but they are awesome, man. I have them like on display in my closet. Like they sit away from everything. They have their own little.
I think, folks, in full disclosure, as you look, your closet, you are a sneaker nerd,
Oh yeah,
and
I'm weird. With
everything
tennis
is in boxes. It is organized to the nth degree.
shoes. Yeah, it's weird.
No, it's not weird. It's just I'm just painting the picture
Yeah, it's a little
of
OCD.
how Aaron lives life. You know, we talked about your motorcycle. What a beautiful custom piece you have there.
Thank you, man.
I mean, when you fired that thing up, I made the mistake of standing on the right side of it, and I couldn't hear for 3 days. But you know, at the end of the day, hey, it's all good, man.
yeah, I love it.
It's all good. So,
So-
you closed in cowboy boots and a cowboy
Oh,
hat.
I had to. I'm gonna have to go to my freaking Facebook page.
It's all right.
But anyway, yeah, cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. I had to do it. It was just necessary. I wanted to be that guy for a day.
Sure.
I don't even know where we're at. Where were we?
We're
all over the
talking. We were
place.
talking about Franklinton, moving to Franklinton County.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Raleigh for 9 years. While I'm in Raleigh, we'll retract a little bit. While I'm in Raleigh, I'm single, living in a one-bedroom apartment. Um, if you are single and you are against dating apps, I met my soulmate on a dating app. Plenty of Fish, POF. Maybe they'll send me some money for giving them a plug
Does it
on
still
this show.
Does that still exist?
Oh, it's definitely still. It's probably one of the biggest dating sites, maybe next to Christian Mingle.
Shut up.
Oh, I promise you.
Okay.
So I was on POF, and my wife, her friend, was pretty much telling her like, hey, like you need to get out more. Like you're a homebody. All you do is work, work, work. And she was with the Department of Justice for 17 years. She was at Fort Bragg
She's got a big girl
working.
job.
Yeah, yeah, big girl job. Yeah, she's a sugar mama. No, she's not a sugar mama. Let me stop. So her girlfriend sets the app up for her without her even knowing.
Oh shit.
She puts her a profile picture and a whole page together. And guess who one of the first people to Messenger is? This creepster right here. So long story short, we start messaging back and forth. And she was like, I didn't even know this app was up here. I'm getting all these alerts. I thought my phone was, doing something weird. So, we started messaging, exchanged phone numbers, and we met for lunch one day in North Hills at a restaurant, Yard House.
Okay.
First date. Disclosure, I'm a foodie, and the way I was born and raised, I will eat all my food at a restaurant. I'm not going to leave any food on my plate until I met her. The
So
conversation was so amazing that I didn't even finish my food. It was cold. Never in a million years. I've never had that. Never had that connection with anybody. She was listening. She was tuned into to me. She asked me questions that no one has ever asked me before, like "Who are you?" Not Aaron Mastrodonado. Like, who really are you internally? Like, who are you? What do you possess? What is your ambitions, your goals? Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I love that. She really asked me some like groundbreaking questions, man, and she listened to me. She was on board with like what I was doing. Eventually, I was telling her like, I think motivational speaking is my thing, and I really want to just reach out to people, man, and let them know with my story, just to never give up on yourself. To you just got to self motivate, man, and just not give up on yourself and keep plugging away for what you deem as success or peace. So yeah, we were dating. It started getting serious, and I'm like, wow, this is happening. Like, I'm in love with this little little cutie pie from Cheyenne, Wyoming, and man, I fell head over heels for her. She just really. I used to text my buddies like, man, I don't know where this young lady came from, but every moment of every date was just. I'm like, wow, what planet are you from? Case in point, first date, awesome, great conversation. I'm like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow? I would love to see you again. Like, this was great. So I was like, hey, what do you want to do? So, I'm not nothing bad on women, but the average woman wants to, let's go to the movies or let's go to this new restaurant or they want to be somewhere.
sure.
This was her words. God bless our Master Donato. She said, let's get a bottle of wine. I want to sit on your couch. She said, I want you to lay on my lap and tell me your life story. Brother, that thing hit me deep. I said, are you trying to get me to buy you an engagement ring like this first week?
You quit it. You
I'm
quit it,
like,
woman.
what? You want to know? You want to hear my life story? She's like, yeah. She's like, I just want you to lay on my lap. Little does she know when she says lay on my lap. I told you I'm a mama's boy.
Right.
Growing up, I used to lay on my mom's lap and watch TV, and I had this long, beautiful, thick, curly hair when I was a kid. Not obviously not now, but my mom would just rub my head, and we watched TV together, and we would just that was just our thing. So, you know, people always say, or men, you always hear men say, that you don't want somebody like your mom, but somebody that has some of those things, characteristics of if when you're a mama's boy, you want that in your wife and your soulmate.
Sure.
Um, so I'm like, does she even know that was like my thing with my
Where-
mom, with a mom's boy? And then you want me to lay on your lap? I'm like, you're giving me wife vibes right now, So, and we did just that. We got a bottle of wine, and I poured my heart and told her my whole entire story. So date three, guess what? It was her turn.
Oh wow.
Now you're gonna lay on my lap, and I would love to hear your story. And we grew up so different, man. She, and that's a whole nother podcast. That hope maybe she can be on that one. But she had a really rough growing up. I'll say that, and night and day from how I grew up. And just hearing her story, I'm like, wow, you went through all that, and you're such a powerful little, just a bright, vibrant energy when she's in anyone's presence, especially mine.
Yeah, because she's no bigger than a minute.
No. Yeah, all 4 foot. I'm gonna say 4'10", and of course, when she hears it, she's gonna say, "I'm 4'11". Stop
And,
trying to stop trying to shorten me.
and then the heels.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with heels. Yeah, a whole whopping 105 pounds.
But she's got
yeah.
power. Like
Oh man,
you know she's in the room.
Amazing. Oh, for sure. Isn't that something?
like when she walks in the room, it's not that she sucks the air out, but
Yeah.
you
It's a presence.
you know that you want to talk to that person.
Mm.
Like she holds power.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like yeah,
wow.
she holds
I just gotta-
power. She's good people.
You just gave me a chill.
Yeah, she's good people, man. She
Yeah.
2R star.
2R star.
Yeah.
That's like the AA Ron.
Yeah.
2R star.
Yeah, you guys are like connected. 2Rs.
Oh man, she's such a blessing from God. I'm so happy that God blessed me with her and put her in my life. Cause I was a little rough around the edges when I met her, man. I was still kind of hanging out and dating and trying to find myself and just not being the best version of who Aaron Mastrodonado should be. And
Sure.
she took that and even seen that in the midst of that and still wanted to be around. That says something about her, her character, and who she is.
Sure.
Second month, I tell people the story. They're like, "What?" The second month we're dating, she says, "What's your credit score?"
Oh shit.
I said,
I'm a veteran.
"Listen, 530. No, 528 at the time, right?" She said, 528? What's going on? I said, if I'm being honest, this might sound immature. I said, I've never really gave two craps about credit. I've said, not in arrogance, but I've always had at least money to get what I want.
Right.
And if I did finance something like a car, they just handed my tail to me in interest. I'm talking 13, 14%.
Yeah. They break it
And I,
off of you.
and I would just eat it. I'm like, dude, this is what you get when you have a 528. So pay the 13% and just keep it moving. You got the car you wanted, right? Not a great way to live, obviously.
Not conducive to having money in the bank.
Nah, at all. So she says, "Do you trust me?" She said, "I'm going to download this app on your phone, the Experian app.
Okay.
I'm going to download this app on your phone." She said, "I'm looking at your credit. It looks like most of your stuff is just you being unorganized and being late. I didn't have any repos or, bankruptcy, none of that craziness. Never had a credit card. Still to this day, 48 years old, I've never had a credit card in my whole life. Good and bad. Can go both ways.
That's right.
Anyways, she takes over my whole life basically the second month. She's like, I got this Experian app. She says, I have everything set up on a what they call it, bill pay or whatever, how it just automatic draft.
Yeah.
She said, this is going to keep you straight. This will keep you from not paying a bill or paying a bill late. That's just one of the areas in my life where I was unorganized. So she sets this thing up, man. I'm on the Experian when I get off work, like people are on Facebook. It's like an addiction. I'm like, oh, let's see if my credit score jumped. I'm excited about this new venture, right?
Right.
So every month,
Adulting.
yeah, really, every month my credit score is going up 2-3 points, and I'm like, hey, I sent her a screenshot. Hey, look, I'm at a 550. Like I was so happy to be at a 555, from a 28. But it just got better and better every month, and I'm like, this lady is really amazing. And here's the thing about her. She did all of this to not want anything from me. She didn't know if we were gonna get married or what. She gave me. She showed me what a wife is while we were dating, and that's a big difference. We could,
Ooh, that's deep.
she
That's deep.
showed me what a wife is. If you're dating someone and you show them what a girlfriend looks like, you're gonna get treated like a girlfriend. If you show somebody what a wife is, you'll get treated like a wife. And that's essentially what happened. She showed me a wife, not my wife. She showed me a wife, right? Because that's what she was showing me. She was my wife when I married her,
Right.
but she was a wife from day one. She showed you this is what a wife does. I'm gonna get your credit straight. I'm gonna help you start. She helped me start a trucking business. Third month, fourth month, third, fourth, hey, 6 months. I started a trucking business. I had this vision. I wanted to have a trucking business, a box truck business. She set the whole thing up for me. Whole thing. I'm talking about insurance, Department of Transportation, the authority, getting a page to hire drivers. Like she said, I did nothing but buy the truck.
She's a taskmaster.
Man,
Taskmaster, bro.
listen, everybody needs a star.
I think I have mine.
You definitely do.
I think I do. She just texted me and said she's going to Henderson.
Oh, okay.
Well, I texted her back. Her favorite meal in the world is grilled cheese. And yesterday,
Woman of my own heart.
in my own travels, I decided I was going to stop at a bakery and trying to lose 20 pounds.
Okay.
And probably shouldn't be eating bread, but
Yeah, you can probably cut off a little bit.
yeah.
Right?
So I'm going to limit myself to 2 grilled cheeses.
Just two. Yeah.
Just 2 and some tomato soup. So she's excited about that. But so how long did it take you to know you wanted to marry her?
Honestly, I don't have an exact day, but I would say within the first 3 or 4 months. I love it. A blessing. In the first 3 or 4 months, I was like, wow, this is really different. Like I really have to start like adjusting myself, and I need to start changing to appreciate this blessing that God has given me. So the first year, like we're traveling, going on cruises. We're in Mexico. We're in Jamaica. We're in Belize. Like we're all over the place. I'm like, this is life right here,
Right.
And I'm not a young guy. I'm in my mid 40s. So just to have all this, excitement and love. Um, Quick story: we get off the our first cruise together. We get off the cruise. My dad's working in Florida. He's about 45 minutes from Miami. The boat's pulling in Miami. We got to wait for a while to get our plane to come back here to North Carolina. So I text my dad the day before. I said, "Hey, Dad, we'll be in Miami. I'd love to see you." And he loves to drive, so he'll drive an hour just to have dinner or lunch with us.
Sure.
I said, "I would love to see you. We're pulling in at this, location, Miami, da 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 da." He's like, "I'm there. Give me a place. Cheesecake Factory. Sounds good." Never met Star.
Right.
Had briefly told her about it, but it was so new. I wasn't really talking to my parents about it.
But good enough to go on a cruise with.
Most definitely, most definitely. Um, hilarious. So we get to the restaurant. So we sit down. I introduce my dad, etc. So we're sitting down and we're all talking. Maybe the first 15, 20 minutes, right? So she said, "Hey, excuse me, can I get up? I need to use the bathroom real quick." So I was blocking her in. So I get out of the seat. So when she walks away, my dad looks at me and he said, "She's special." That's not my dad. My dad, 15, 20 minutes, my dad's not impressed by anything.
Sure.
He's very old school Italian. He said, "She's special." He said, "You need to hold on to her." I said, "I think I will." I said, "I know." I said, "She's really changed my life just in this last year." Um, Fast forward, we've been married for 3 years. January 1st is our New Year's Day is our anniversary every
That's
year.
awesome.
We plan that.
New year, new beginning.
Yeah, that's it. New chapter, another year of life, another year of marriage, and it's just been an awesome ride, man. She is a absolutely phenomenal woman. She has changed me. When they say, "Oh, you can't teach an old dog new tricks," I'm an example of it. I have changed so much as a man within the time that I've met her, and she just makes me want to be better every day. I'm just like, what can I do to just be more of an amazing husband? What can I do to add happiness to your life today? Or what do you need me to do around the house? Like, the old lazy Aaron wasn't going to do any of that, but she's just so special. I just, I'm always working to just
Be better.
Be better. Yeah, yeah.
But we only get one
She
shot.
gives me the best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. We only get one shot at life.
for sure.
It's very, very short.
Mm.
Our time is very limited. Well, I got to talk about a few folks.
Yeah.
So Fire Decks, their mantra is you take care of them, and Fire Decks will take care of you. PFAS and PFOA free, and on average 4 pounds lighter than any other PP on the market. Matex hose, Toby, down in Dothan, Alabama, he says that GPUs versus BTUs, no frills, no junk marketing, just water on the fire. Milwaukee Tools, you are in the Milwaukee Tools studio. Box 1971 is proud to utilize Milwaukee Tools and their pack-out accessories for instruction. Milwaukee, nothing but heavy duty. Seek Thermal Imagers, making the seen unseen economical, sleek. It has to be Seek. Crestar firefighting equipment. If you're tired of silly marketing or having to pay overpriced prices for fire equipment, look to Crestars. You know, the maker of redhead couplings on 90% of your couplings on your hoses today. And last but not least, those who help us when we have to bail out, the original inventor and Keystone Corner marketer of the firefighter bailout equipment, Sterling Rope. I will tell you that Box 1971 is proud to have aligned with Sterling Rope. We are able to provide bailout training, factory authorized bailout training. If those that are training you don't have that marker behind their name, you probably should look somewhere else, because we have gone through the steps to satisfy Sterling Ropes and are proud to go forward carrying their brand. Aaron, we've got to talk about your cigar, because we talk about the fire service, we talk about life on this podcast, we talk about everything. Nothing's really off limits. We've had a whole bunch of guests on here, and that was one thing when I talked with Bruce, Karen's vice president. He's like, "Well, is it a cigar podcast?" And I'm like, "Listen, you can only talk about cigars so much.
Yeah.
People want to know the story, right?" So we've set this up to now talk about your cigar.
Yeah.
Right? So we've talked about Karen's cigars, and we're going to continue to talk about Karen's cigars. But if you go to mastrocigars.com, M-A-S-T-R-O, cigars.com, you go to your website. And when you come to the homepage, the first thing you see is a photo of you and Star. And you see a photo of a young Aaron, very young. Talk to me about your story with your cigar. Talk to me about the beginnings, the antithesis. Is that right? I don't know.
That's a big word.
I think that's right. We're gonna have to fact check that word.
Fact check.
You told me to put the laptop away, so
No.
I had to. Now using my phone. Talk to me about your journey to getting a cigar. What led you here?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So when I was in the military, um, my dad and I started a tradition. Uh, when I would come home on leave and come home to Cleveland to stay with them for a while, my dad and I would always get a cigar. I didn't know what I was smoking at the time. I would just get. Usually, I'd look for the biggest cigar, like a real, like a boss cigar, as I would say. And we'd sit outside, smoke a cigar together, and that was just kind of our guy time. We'd sit outside, catch up, have a little sip of something, just smoke a cigar and just bond. And it created a tradition over the years. So there's a bunch of pictures of you'll see of my dad and I in Little Italy downtown in Cleveland, Ohio, with a cigar in our mouth. Like we would just take pictures of these different events where we'd smoke a cigar together. Fast forward, that actual cruise that I was talking about, that Star and I went on. I met a really good guy from New York, and actually a NYPD Italian guy.
Shocker.
We're right. Where the heck did that happen? How the heck did that happen? We're in the gym on the cruise ship in the morning. Him and I in there working out. So of course we start talking.
Getting swole.
Yeah, you got to get tight before you step out in the pool area. So we get out. We're working out. We're shooting. Talking back and forth, just sharing stories. So he was like, "Hey man, we're going to whatever bar, the bar on deck 6, whatever." I was like, "Yeah, I'll get my girlfriend at the time. She was my girlfriend." I said, "Yeah, I'll get my girlfriend and we'll meet you and your wife up there. That'll be cool." Guess what he asked me? "You smoke cigars?" I said, "Do I smoke cigars? Of course I smoke cigars." He said, "Dude, I got one for you." He's like, I bought a whole bunch of them. So I'm like, "Cool. Can I say the name brand that I smoked? Is that okay?"
Sure, sure.
Because I'm not gonna toot their horn, but they were my go-to. So he gives me a uh,
Drew,
Tobacco Especial Cafe con Leche.
yeah.
Rocked my socks.
Drew Estate.
Rocked my socks.
Yeah.
Drew Estate.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude. So I'm peeling the sticker. I tell Star, put the label. I put this in your purse. So I go, like I'm taking pictures with my phone. I'm like, oh, I have to get some of these cigars when I get home. So he introduced those to me. So when I get home, I'm on a whole new kick with this Tobacco Especial. Cafe con Leche was the flavor at that time. Um, so Star would check my humidor every so often. She's like, "Hey, I ordered you some more. You got like 3 left, and this, and that." So one day we're sitting outside. I'm smoking a cigar, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and process this order." I said, "Man, we give these people hundreds of dollars every few months." I said, "Why can't we have our own cigar?" She's like, "That sounds amazing, but like, how do we? How?" I was like, "I don't know. It starts with a vision and a conversation, right? Like any business, you gotta have some type of insight or a vision." So, man, make a long story short, I'm not gonna get super deep into it, but I started utilizing some of my resources of people I know, and I have a couple Dominican friends. I have some people from New York, and I land a distributor who will remain nameless. But I land a distributor. They're willing to work with us. They're willing to work with us on flavors, and we'll kind of give our input of like what we think may vibe, or can we try this or try that. And they had some stuff already set up, and man, absolutely amazing journey, and it just kicked off. We go home for Christmas around this time, around that year that I had this whole vision before we even found the distributor. No, actually, we had the distributor, but we were still like in the works of doing some other things. I go home for Christmas. My dad blesses my sister and I, and Star and I. We're married at the time. Um, with a check for Christmas, he said, "I've had a great year in investments. This is for you. This is my sister Jenna. This is for Jenna. This is for you." So I look at this check. I'm like, "Dad, thank you. Like, I can't accept this." He's like, "No. So he's blessing us. So you know what I did with the check? Started the business. I'm like, "Oh, this is." In my mind, I'm thinking, I've always had an entrepreneurial mindset. I was born with it. What's next? What's next? What's next? How do we start here and get to here? What's the next move? What's the next vision? How do we get to it? What do we need to do to prep? It's always a blueprint in my head, constantly going. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. Um, so I had a guy for some marketing I did when I had my clothing line, Moving Mountains. I said, hey man, this is what we need. I'm gonna link you up with my wife because she has more, access to like the computer during the day because of my job and her phone. So he started printing us cigar labels. We're getting all our literature and all our stuff because we really want to be ready for this thing when it hits. Because we package all of our own stuff. Our distributor only rolls the cigars for us. We package them. We put them in the cellophane. We hand put every sticker on every cigar. My wife packages them.
Oh, so
We
they come unbanded, and you're putting
Oh
them
yeah,
on, and you're putting them in the cellophane
we
and
do
sticker and
all the
everything.
we do
Wow.
all the legwork. We
Wow.
do all the legwork.
Okay, so they're
we're cutting out everybody.
okay.
We don't want any middlemen to do anything extra to charge us anymore.
Well, and I mean, your cigars are retailing for how much? I mean, you sell them on the website, but I mean, how much like? They're what, $16?
Yeah,
And you're,
average, depending on the length.
and that's what, a 60 gauge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of cigar
Yeah,
for a decent amount of money.
I think so.
Yeah.
Somebody may say different, but
Well-
I've heard people like, man, your prices are kind of high. That's another conversation. But
Well,
anyway,
everybody says that.
yeah,
Until they
of course.
smoke it.
Right, there you go. So yeah, man, we got all these boxes, and she's, like I said, my wife's very crafty. So we personalize every box with the person's name. Everybody that orders, your name will be somewhere on that box. She ties them with this cool, like a yarn, like a tobacco-y yarn. Wraps the cigars together. I wish there was some pictures on the website of her actual work, but just purchase them and you'll see the work. But
And they can get those on your website,
yeah,
right?
yep. So she packages and crafts. So we have all this cool literature. Uh, the cards sometimes we'll put a card in the box that's got the what do you call that little code that you can go right to the website. QR code, yeah. And yeah, that's just basically it, man. It's been fun. Bigger than a dollar amount. I enjoy meeting people and just smoking a cigar with people and just like you said, for you it's a story. What's behind it? That's what means and brings value to you in your mind. So I just enjoy meeting people, man. The money's cool, but it's bigger than the money for me.
Right.
The people that you meet, the relationships, the stories, the camaraderie. I remember just smoking a cigar with you. I forgot what you were smoking that day when your father passed, and we were just kind of all loving on each other, man, having a vibe. That's a memory for me, bro.
Opus X Lost City.
Do you know how powerful that is?
Yeah.
That day,
That's
to just be sitting with you in the midst of you going through something, and we prayed together. We smoked a cigar. We kind of parted ways. We told each other, everybody loved you. We love you. We're here for you. That's
And then
what's
shortly
big to me.
thereafter, you experienced a loss.
Yeah, my grandmother.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a few months after that.
Yeah.
Maybe a year, possibly. Yeah.
No, Dad hasn't been dead a year yet.
Yeah, well, so it was months then.
Yeah, it was months.
Wow.
Dad passed June the 21st.
I'm getting ready to take this conversation to another area because it's been in my head since we've been talking.
Sure.
Something I struggle with, man, at this age in life and just with good people dying around us, it scares me, bro. It scares me.
Yeah.
And the reason why, I'm enjoying my life so much now, and I'm in such a good space of peace and happiness. Not even a level of success. I could care less about money. That is not my motivation in life. I'm at such a place of peace and happiness that I'm not ready to go, man. I want to be here till I'm 100, and if I can see 100 years old, I pray. I'm like, God, let me see 3 digits. And then just take me in my sleep peacefully. Like, I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I don't want to be sick and have to have
Right.
somebody take care of me. I know it's kind of a morbid conversation, but
No.
life is so good right now. I want to spend the next 50 years on this planet just loving people, creating relationships, and just enjoying what God has put for us on this planet.
Doing things better.
Traveling.
Right. I mean,
Just seeing
I got to spend a
stuff.
week with my mom. And I spent 20 years trying to get out of that house. Right. Well, 21. 21 years trying to get out of the house.
Yeah.
And, I go back and I'll tell you, going back for Thanksgiving just a few short weeks ago, I'm still not prepared to see my dad not sitting in his chair. Right.
That's rough.
Yeah. It's going to continue to be rough for a while, but because of good friends who check in on you, people who genuinely care, it's like I always tell people I'd rather have 5 $20 bills than $101 bills. And and not to break that down for money, the analogy is I'd rather just know that there are 5 that can spend the same as opposed to having a whole wad full of and having to try to keep up with. Because good friends are hard to come by.
Amen.
And they're even harder to keep because relationships are work.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want to invest into work. You know, it's a job, right? It's hard to keep up, but like when you know people's names and the things that are going on in their lives and what they're facing, it makes your life more fulfilling. And I was standing there. We buried Bernie a few weeks ago, actually Thanksgiving week, right before Thanksgiving. And I looked at one of the battalion chiefs. He's actually been on this podcast. And tears in our eyes, standing on top of a mountain at an old country church where we laid Bernie to rest. And I said, you know, Chief, this is what we have to look forward to the rest of our lives. I said, we've reached the pinnacle of coming over the hill, like where we, you know, you lose grandparents and it kind of dies off, right? No pun intended.
Yeah.
And it lulls, and then you start losing people that you care about, and this is what we have to look forward to. And he was like, you're not shitting. And I, you know, the good people, you know, I'm glad my dad went quick. Super glad. And that's part of the reason we had a 2-month hiatus is just you deal with things and you need a break. And everybody says, well, collectively, let's just take a break. And when 9 people get together and say, we all need a break, you know, we've got classes to teach and we've got things to do and go up and down the road. It's important to sit back and focus on what really matters. And, you know, I come back to the Tinderbox in Easton Mall in Columbus, Ohio. It was one of the few spots in Ohio where you can still smoke. It was grandfathered in. They've kept their doors open. But growing up on the job, and I want to ask you, I want you to tell me a story, and then I'm going to tell you this story. Not to one-up you, I just want to hear your story and share mine. Do you remember your first cigar, like actual premium long filler cigar?
No clue.
So, as a young fireman, I always saw the guys pulling ceiling with a cigar, right? That was the thing. That was the thing.
Oh, that's tough.
There was a corner spot just down the street from the firehouse. And so I was like, I'm going to go in there and get me some. Well, the only thing they had was backwoods. Not being smart, I picked up a couple, you know, little pouches of them, and I put one inside your turnout coat. There's a little pocket. And so I put that in there, and I was like, next fire. Well, later that night, we had the next fire.
Oh, wow.
So smoking, and the senior man, he gruff old fuck. Goddamn, Mark was tough as nails. He only smoked Padron, and so he was like, we're pulling ceiling. I got my roof hook. We're pulling ceiling. We're just checking for extension, and he looks at me and he says, "We're gonna talk when we get back." I thought I fucked up. So he always smoked by himself at the back of the bay in an old wooden chair, and he said, when we get back in service, we're going to talk. I was like, okay. I didn't know what it did. So I was like super nervous about every movement I made. You know, young kid. You
want to do everything right.
This guy's got more years on the job than I've been walking the earth, and I just want to make him happy, right? He's like a second father. So I'm like, oh, shit, okay. And he didn't really say much. And I think that's probably where I get, you know, people say I don't pay compliments very well. I'm not very emotional, right? So I was like, all right. So we get done. We're back in service. We're sitting behind the truck. And he laid a quote on me that I'll never forget. Life is too short to smoke shitty cigars. If you're going to smoke good.
I like it.
I was like,
wow.
Okay. So what's wrong with this? And he's like, that's horseshit. Nothing against backwoods, right? But he was like, he opened my world up to premium cigars. So as a young man, right? Because back then you had to be 18 to buy.
Okay.
He's like, we're going to breakfast in the morning and you're buying.
What?
Shit, I'm a broke kid, man. I'm in school. Like, what?
Have you seen my paycheck?
So I follow him to the restaurant. We had awful waffle, and you know he let me off easy.
Okay.
And we went to the Tinderbox, and I picked up. He said you need to pick up one of these, and it was the Millennium from Padron. They only made 100,000 of them. They were all individually serial numbered and everything.
Wow.
And we sat there and we smoked. And I was like, this is completely different. I was too ignorant to understand the nuances of my palate because I didn't have one, right?
Right.
I just saw the guys doing it. I wanted to do it. I wanted to be part of the gang. And so what little money I did have, I couldn't afford a box. So I ended up buying a little Huma bag and ended up taking cigars with me. And that was my start in premium cigars because of the fire service, because of somebody taking the time to say life is too short to smoke shitty cigars.
I love it.
And so that is my mantra. And that's why when we decided to partner with Karen, it was like, we don't want to just partner with anybody.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be like a mass produced, although, you know, it could be construed that cigars are mass produced. You know, they're not machine made. I mean, you want to talk about machine made, you need to go down to Ybor City and see what's going on down there. They're pumping out, I think it's every 20 seconds is a new cigar, and it's got HDT in it, homogenized tobacco leaf.
What?
It's like a paper. But Newman's making it. And look, they're a great, like, lawnmower cigar. Like, not something you want to enjoy, you just want to smoke.
Yeah.
And it's all short filler, right? And they've got rooms the size of this firehouse that are just full of tobacco. It's cool as shit. I mean, it's neat to see.
Yeah.
Everybody should go see it because then they've also got, you know, the tobacco lair upstairs where the torcedores, the rollers, are actually rolling and doing premium long filler cigars. And if you really want to see something cool, you need to go down and see that they have the last bale of pre-embargo Cuban tobacco, and they never paid for it because the embargo happened. So the bale is in the safe, and it's just so cool. Like,
There's so much I don't know and haven't seen.
Drew and Eric Newman have such a cool history. And here's the other thing. They come from Ohio. So they had ties to Cleveland, and they had ties to Marion, Ohio.
I never knew none of this.
Yeah.
This is all
So Newman's cigar, it got its start in Ohio.
Wow.
And it's such a cool story, right? And so you look at this, and then Drew, you know, is an attorney. He's fighting for our rights and running a cigar company, and Eric is just a powerhouse in the business. It's really cool. But for me, I like to dive into it. And you know, when I look at cigars, you know, it's like I told you, I said, man, I'm not a fan of these infused things. And you're like, just try it. And
I'm just going to leave this here with you.
yeah, and you left me too. And I was like, I didn't want to tell anybody, you know, because people.
Man, I'm hardcore. I don't smoke that shit.
Well, it's
No,
it's
messing
not
with
that. People want to know what you're smoking, and you know, everybody's palate's different. You know, like
Most definitely.
you taste things in a cigar that I may not taste, and then some may taste like almond, and it's all just natural tobacco.
Yeah. And you're truly an aficionado. I'm not.
Well,
You are the man.
I smoke a lot.
I've learned so much from you just in the short period of time I've known you.
I'm
thankful
just
for
comes.
that.
It just comes with smoking. It comes with, you know, being around. But you know, it's this world. I've said it 100 times, and I'll say it again. The cigar lounge is the great equalizer. Nobody gives a shit what you do for a living.
Right.
Nobody cares about your one-up story. It's gentlemen doing gentlemanly things. And when we smoke at the firehouse, you've come and you've smoked. There are some great conversations that happen, and some great ball busting,
And some
right?
good pictures.
Yeah, and it just it brings people together. It's camaraderie. There's a place in D.C. If you're ever in D.C., you need to go see Diane at Petworth Cigars. And I know I'm going to butcher this, but it's like camaraderie, community, and cigars. And that's her mantra. And this place is packed. Packed. I was headed to Maryland probably 5 weeks ago, and the Buckeyes were playing on Saturday. And I called Diane at like 9 in the morning. I said, I'm on the road. I'm in Richmond. I'm going to be there right about 10 minutes before kickoff. Is the shop open? She's like, yeah, come on in. I walked in, and there was probably 30 people in there at noon. And they were like, hey, it's great to see you. How are you? And we sat, and none of them cared about the game. They were playing against Rutgers, right?
Right.
And they were like, nobody cares about New Jersey football. So they just all like, just camaraderie.
Yeah.
And I've met so many cool people. I've met people from the UN. I've smoked with politicians. I've smoked with the commissioner of the NFL. I've smoked with all these people. And cigars brought us together.
Yeah, isn't
you
that
know,
something?
it's the craziest thing in the world, and cigars brought us
Yeah,
together.
it's a culture.
Yeah,
It's
and
a culture that we've created.
it's amazing to me that people that don't understand, you know, that there's only one ingredient in a cigar, and that's tobacco. There's, you look at a cigarette, there's 250. There's,
Right.
it's a different world, right? But
I agree.
it's amazing. I mean, you've done amazing things
Thank you, man.
with your life, man.
Thank you. Thank you so
and your wife is an absolute blessing. She's a rock star, and she's
You've said that before.
yeah, she is, and I have no problem telling her
Started a
she's
rock star,
she's
yeah.
great people. She's good people, and good people are hard to find.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they're not hard to find. I think sometimes we get so caught up in life that we don't take the time to see people right in front of us.
Isn't that something?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's the word.
Like we,
Too in a rush, too in a hurry, not even focusing on somebody that can be a blessing to you and somebody you can call brother.
right?
You know how deep that is?
Yeah,
From
like
a friend
yeah, like
or an
you know,
associate.
like when people call you and text you and they want to know what's going on in your life, how you doing. It's tough. You and we've talked about like you haven't talked for a couple weeks, a month, and you're like, oh shit.
Did I piss you off?
You're like,
"Damn,
no,
did I do
bro.
something wrong?"
Life happens,
I love you.
it's one of those things that I mean, all of our instructors, they're scattered throughout the United States, and they do such a phenomenal job. And it's amazing when we get to come together. I was talking with a guy that we had a huge misunderstanding on everyone's part, and he was like, I watched you guys bring all of us together. There was so much turmoil, and you guys showed up and collectively brought us all together. And you know what we had? Cigars. Walls came down, people were together, and we never envisioned when we started the business in 2015 that we would be sitting here, that this would be what we have, and that we would have the presence that we have.
Right.
But we're fortunate, and we're fortunate to have good friends. And it's a shame that people don't take the time to realize. And I guess that's my whole thing out of this deal is that, take the time to talk to folks, because at the end of the day, it's all we got. I sat down and had a cigar with my cousin while in Ohio, and he veteran, he's a big player in the game. He built him a little cigar shop, like in his shop, little lounge in his cigar shop, and we sat out there and smoked. He's like, I haven't got to see the sunset yet. And he rolled down this plastic thing in front of the window, kicks the heaters on, and we watched the sunset over a field where I shot a deer when I was a kid with my grandpa. Wow. And I was like, man, this is
Memories,
this is fucking poetic. And he's like, and I told him, I said, the clock that hangs on my wall in my house, your grandfather and my grandfather built together. And so we put out our cigars, we go in the house, and he's completely redone the house, took it down to the studs. And we talked about how my grandpa wired back in the day. And, because grandpa side hustling he was everything.
I love it.
He was a builder.
Yeah.
And he was like, I hate the way that our grandfathers wired houses, because they would wire everything from the center and the light, and then everything would come out from there. And so he was like, we're lucky we didn't burn a damn thing down. I got shocked twice, and I had to pull all the electrical out of the house. I'm like,
Jesus.
bro, the codes changed. Like,
Right.
we had to have codes for a reason. And he's in law enforcement. He's a volunteer fireman. His hands are in everything.
Wow.
But
That's good.
cigars brought us together again. And he, I'm blessed with that. I'm blessed to have such good friendships. And be around quality cigars and good instructors with good firemen. And there's a lot of movement that says that this job is dead, that, brotherhood's dead. I'm here to tell you it's very much alive and well. With tragedy, you know it as well as I know. You saw people come out for your grandmother. You're like, where did all these people come from?
Right.
And I feel the same way about my dad, and saw people I hadn't seen, and people started requesting me on Facebook. Of course, didn't take those.
Right.
I don't need to. Haven't seen you in 20 years. I'm probably good, paid in full. But it was good talking to you. It's nice of you to show up. But it's definitely, life is interesting, and you've had an interesting run. It'll be cool to see where you go next.
Oh man, next year's our year, bro. I say our year, not my year.
It's going to be a good
Next
year.
year's our year.
Yeah.
Believe it.
Yeah.
There's some big things to come. We'll be talking about this.
Well, we'll have to
next
revisit
year.
it. We'll
Oh,
have to
most
revisit it.
definitely. I would
So
love
tell
to come
folks
back.
where they can buy your cigars at.
Yeah, Mastro's Cigars, Mastro's with a S, cigars.com. My wife handles the website, so be patient if we don't get right back to you, but we are very diligent about getting back to you in a quick manner. We do ship everywhere, the United States. So yeah, look forward to you smoking what I say. This is just my saying. North Carolina's favorite cigar, Mastro Cigars.
There's
So,
nothing
yeah,
wrong with that.
yeah,
By
yeah.
way of Dominican,
That's right.
by the way.
Them, I give them all the credit.
Yeah.
Look, I'm just the face and the
Well,
salesman.
it's the fact that you've got a story to go with it, and the story, and you're not in retailers,
No, no,
so
strictly e-commerce.
yeah, so
For
that
now.
for now,
Yeah.
but if that's you're not going to go into the store in East Cupcake, Nebraska, and be able to find
Right,
this,
no.
right? Or Wyoming or wherever
Yeah,
you're going to
yeah.
be able to. Yeah, so you're gonna have to get it online, but that's a good spot. Well, brother, I got to be honest with you. This has been
A blast.
a blast.
Yeah,
I
man,
mean,
thank you for inviting me. This
yeah.
is awesome. This place is awesome. I wish the people listening could see this place.
we've
It
talked
is
about the video.
amazing.
We've talked about videoing. We have the capability. Here's the issue. This already costs us money, and time is money. So editing and getting everything perfect is so tough that audio is so much easier. And the one thing we've learned is that only 10% of your business is driven from social media. And so the post and ghost thing, I think social media, while it's going to have its place, is kind of playing out for business. I think advertising for like what they're listening to for Kohl's or whatever.
Right.
I think that's probably going to continue. But for people like us, we just need to get out and beat the streets, right? I mean,
Heck yeah. That's fun.
yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I enjoy getting out. I enjoy
Right.
talking to people,
Right.
whether it's about forcing doors or throwing ladders or stretching line
Anything.
to cigars. I enjoy it, and I think all of our guys enjoy it as well. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't be doing what they're doing. But Aaron, I want to thank you for bringing us back in. You're going to take us into 2024.
Yes, sir.
Some
excited.
big things. There's going to be some cool people that sit in that chair behind you this year. Last year was a big year with Mike Perrone from FDNY, Jeff Cool from FDNY, legend of the job, Bob Farrell. There have been some big hitters for that. We're going to get Karen on this.
Yes.
We're going to try to do one from Nicaragua. So we're going to try to
Put it on the list.
we're going to pack all this stuff up and
Heck yeah.
ship it and see what happens in
Let's do
Nicaragua,
it.
because I think that you just have a different feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Heck yeah. That's
So
awesome.
that's the plan. We're going to try to attempt to make that happen. But, when you only got 5 days in a place,
Yeah.
you got to, and your schedule's kind of mapped out for you when you go to this deal. So, we'll see what shakes out. But I want to thank you.
Yeah,
Thank your
thank you,
wife for the time. I
Yeah,
know
for
that
sure.
time is important. But listen, this has been the Halligans and Half Wheels podcast, brought to you by Box 1971. Remember to train hard. We are all that they have.